like for you to go on the LMS now that everybody can get on the LMS. And there is, and I'm going to show you real quick what I'm talking about to make it easier. Let me share my screen. I hope I didn't close it. We'll see. Screen 2. Okay, share. Can you see the screen over there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me get what I'm talking about. I hope I didn't close my LMS, but I may have. If I did, I'll open it up. No, I didn't. I was smarter than I thought. Okay. When you go into our class, there is how adults learn. See that? So when you go into your class, there's how adults learn. This is the survey you take after class. This is for the class for registration, but this, it says how adults learn. If you would watch that for me and just tell me what you think, if you think it's informative, if you think it's helpful, and just tell me a little bit of information about it. It's something new, and I just want to get an idea what you think about it. We haven't used that before. So if you would get on and just go through that little program, it's short, and tell me what you think. That will, especially since Teaching Tech 1, the second half is going to be delayed a little bit. I'd like for you to go ahead and get on there and check it out. And you can just put in the instructor's lounge what you thought about it. You know, just give me a little input what you think. That would be wonderful. Tonight, after class, or whenever you get a chance tonight, I would love for you to do that. And I'll answer all those that are in there right now. That's what I will do tonight. Does that work for everybody?
Michelle, quickly, can you go back one page? I just want to find, I'm just on the site. I just want to figure out.
Yeah, it is. And mine has lots of classes in it. Oh, it went back somewhere else. Hold on one second. I gotta go back 2 steps. Okay. See, I have all these classes in mine enrolled.
Yep.
So it is way down at the bottom. I need to just start taking these classes, see what I can learn. Right here where it says Introduction to Teaching Tech.
Okay.
And I just click the little I. And mine's going really slow today. Probably because I have so much going on. And then I went down to how adults learn.
Yep, found it. Thank you.
And I would love for you, after we get out of class, just check it out and tell me honestly what you think. If you think it was helpful, just give me some input on what you think. Okay?
Sure.
Is everybody on? I didn't even look. I'm hoping everybody's on since I told you that. Let me look and see how many people I got on here. I got to expand because it looks like I just have 6. Oh, there's more of you. There's more of you.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I'm losing it. Go to the dashboard, and where is that?
Mine is, I've got so many things on my dashboard. Yours is, it's just the Introduction to Teaching Techniques, and it's got the little icon of the Finishing Trades Institute.
You have to scroll down, Donald.
Yeah, I had to scroll.
You scroll down on your, okay, so I have enrollments.
Yeah, it's all way down at the bottom on my enrollments.
If you hit Control F, you can then type in Introduction to Teaching Techniques and it'll just go right to it.
Oh, you're awesome. That's new. I didn't know I'd do that. Thank you.
Roll what?
And maybe that's what it is just I have so many.
That's like me when I go to my
enrollments.
dashboard and I look, I've got so many classes I'm enrolled in that it's toward the bottom.
Yep, that's why Control F, everybody. Control F brings up a little tab that you can write whatever in, and then that will bring it up to the class that you're actually looking for, as long as you have the proper name of the class anyways.
So it's FTI 1000. Will it find it that way?
Yes, it will. We'll find it that way as well.
Perfect.
Okay,
But you got to remember that you got to type in the caps. If you don't put cap FTI, it will not find it, just like with the core classes. If you write lowercase c, C-O-R, it will not find it for you, which is really odd.
But I'm glad, oh, I need to turn down the noise in my house. There we go. I didn't know it was on. So that tonight, if you would just look at that, did you find it yet, Donald?
I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
I'll show you. I hit the little eye because on
Yep.
it had information. Does yours have a little eye?
Yep.
And then when you click the eye, then you should see things listed. FTI Introduction to Teaching Techniques, FTI Introduction to Teaching Techniques Survey, and then How Adults Learn.
There we go. It took a while for it to come up.
Perfect. So How Adults Learn, I just want you to watch that after class tonight. And just
Alrighty.
tell me what you think of it.
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Hi, Nicole.
Hi. How's
Nicole is
everybody?
with us today.
I'm with you today. Oh, geez.
And I think Tom is coming in sometime.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
I'll be here in the background, so just holler if you need me. If anything that you need from me, though, did we want to talk about future classes, or we're not there yet?
Do we know what's going on?
Nope.
Okay.
Still talking.
Good talk.
We'll just make stuff up.
Yeah. So obviously after this class ends, Michelle and I will get together and we'll come up with the next date for you guys. One thing that I wanted to maybe just, I don't want to incite a riot or start any sort of crazy talk. I just want to know loosely, how did you guys feel about the time? So like those types of things, like it's 3 hours. I know it's a long time. Is it pretty good? Do we like the hours of the day from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern based on where you live and your work schedules and all of that? So keep in mind, because these classes are virtual, we sort of have a little bit of play where we could make some changes. You know, when you come to the center, you're in class 8 to 5. There's not really a whole lot of tweaking that we could do. You know, lunches are set, breaks are set, and that sort of thing. So you don't have to answer me now, but if you just want to think about it and kind of shoot those notes over to Michelle or over to myself, whatever you feel comfortable with, you know, we're open to just kind of hearing anything that we can do to improve it. Because this is the very first intro that we've done on Zoom. So your input, listen, I can handle it. I've heard it all. So anything that you guys could suggest to make things better, we're totally open for. And then better even for the next one that we do for Teaching Tech 2.
And I don't know if they're still up for this, and I have done it for one group. I did teach it at night, and I don't know if that's something they want to do again, but I did come in and teach, what was it, 6 to 9 or 6 to something. So it was easier. Oh, it's hard. Oh, it was hard. I worked all day, and then I came in because I taught, you know, I was like, well, the guys were complaining, and I'm like, hey, I've been sitting here from 7 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night. I feel your pain. Because I just went from one computer and I just moved over to this one. So if that doesn't interest you, I get it.
Yeah.
But there was something that happened and the guys really needed a night because they couldn't afford to be off their job site. So we did it.
Yeah, we did it. I mean, it was part-time instructors that needed that, you know, at nighttime class. And we did learn a lot. And it was really tiring. That week was a
long day.
It was us, it was the member, you know, it's all of you guys had to work all day. And then you sat on a Zoom with us at nighttime. So.
And we did it 5 days. We did it for 5 days long.
It was a lot. It was a fun Friday night, I got to tell you.
Yeah, they were very excited to be with me on Friday night after seeing me all week, and we'd all worked all day at our other jobs. It was great.
Yeah, it was good.
But if we need it, we've done it.
I do have a question. Everybody hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed on the website, they have, you know, our February schedule that's up in the air for coming to the college. But then in March, there's a set of days for OSHA 500. There's a set of days for a couple other classes. Are we automatically enrolled in that program to continue this? Or that's just classes that you've offered and I have to get with my DOT to make sure that I'm there for that?
Yeah, you want to make sure you get with your DOT, not automatic enrollments.
Okay.
And I will say those classes in March, because they do coincide, you know, your OSHA classes, your 510 and your 500, obviously you're going to coincide with your teaching tech. We're going to try to schedule those around you guys, around this group. So around your teaching tech class so that we can make sure you get everything you need in the order that you need it. Okay. And if they're listed as in person, chances are they won't be. chances are they would be online again. And then we would still kind of evaluate those weeks. So the dates wouldn't be set in stone, but we try to make it comparable. So we're not double dipping where you can't run the same time as an OSHA 510, obviously.
Right.
Yep. So, yep, check with your DOT. And I send out, we send out from the FTI blasters to them at least once a week, if not every 2 weeks, of all of the upcoming classes. So as soon as we can nail them down and
You hear me, Si?
if we're opening, then we're good.
Okay. Yeah, because now that I've started this, continuing my education for becoming my master, you know, I want to just keep it going. You know, there's no sense in stopping
Oh, there was
any
security.
type of the schedule. If it's going to benefit me or all of us, I don't see, you know, not stopping. So.
Yep. Nope. You're right. And we really do. Like, I will consider this group as the group and sort of manage the rest of the calendar around y'all, because we need to make sure that you hit your marks with those classes. Don't tell the other people that, but that's what I do for you guys.
Okay. Thank you
So
so
y'all
much.
are, y'all are special. I knew they were special already. Don't you worry.
I'm sure you tell all the boys that.
Yeah.
I do. I do. You're right. I'm so sweet. Okay. So we have homework for tonight, even though this is the end of our class. I would love that, and I appreciate y'all going through that. Nicole, can you think of anything else they need, or are we ready to go?
Sorry, I keep doing that. You guys, I'm ready when you guys are ready, so we're all good. Holler
Okay.
if you need anything. I'll keep my eye on the chat. And that's it. And of course we talked about the survey when y'all were in there yesterday.
Are we doing the survey, or are we waiting to do the survey?
I don't know. Did
Since we're
someone
just
prior to me say that? Then that
Nope. No one said anything, and I was wondering because this is half the class, so I didn't know if we did a survey for half the class,
could do it.
or if we wait till the other half of class.
No, we'll do it. We'll just do it because it's in there.
Okay.
We'll have them do it. Yeah,
Okay.
why not?
Is Ronald on with us?
I think so.
He's not. I don't see him, but I see his name come up.
So Ronald, Ronald probably wasn't on yesterday. So really it's me, Monisha, and Ronald who handle all of the IFTI classes that are either online, in person, or at your district council. So all of the SSPC classes that y'all do, AGMT, all that business, we are the three people behind the scenes, making sure and coordinating that all that stuff happens. So Ronald likes to stay behind the scenes. So if he doesn't pop on, that's Ronald. And all good. Yeah.
He's on mute.
Okay.
He might be doing something else. He might be ignoring us. You don't know. I can't blame him. Okay, y'all ready? Did everybody read last night? Bob's talking to his office mate again with his hands up. There you
I
go.
gotta be honest, I didn't.
You didn't read? Did you read the night before?
Yes, I read the night before.
Okay.
So I gotta be I gotta be honest.
Well, I'd rather you be honest than lie.
I did glance over it this morning. I know it's on group learning.
Yes, it is. So did y'all go in and put what you thought about the first two chapters?
Yeah.
Last night? Okay, I will go and read that. So what's some thoughts on I think it was chapter 10? Is that what it was, chapter 10?
You said it was chapter 10.
Chapter 10, I thought so, but sometimes I lose track. So give me an idea. Did anybody learn anything? What did you find in there? What did you read? You can tell Donald too. Is that you, Phil? Do you see Phil coming up where you can just see his eyes?
I'm still on shared screen. I only see 3 people.
Oh, Phil just popped in. I've got where I can see all of you. It must be Tom's coming on. And Phil's sitting in his chair. And Phil's really short. So Tom's taller. So you can only see Phil's little eyeballs because he's 2 feet tall. He was being a brat today. Already sent me Tom, you're in trouble. He is bad. Sent me the link for the Geico commercial yesterday and sent me a MP3 of clicking pins today. My two nemesis. Can't stand clicking pen. It was going click, 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 click. I'm like, I'm sorry, Tom. You have to work with him. I'm so sorry. Poor fella. You're on mute. You can talk about him. Put that. I want you to talk about him. You can take that mute off. You talk trash about him all you want. So.
Oh yeah. Now you know what I got to deal with.
Oh, I've known a lot longer than you, I believe. I've known him a long
I'm sorry.
time.
I know
Oh,
I
man.
got at least 17 years with him.
Well, he's even got some nice videos of me and saying ugly things to him. I'm like, that's
I
not
didn't show him those.
Oh.
But I said it with bunny ears in a cute voice on Snapchat, so I didn't think it should count bad if I look cute when I'm saying it. I looked really cute, so that'll count. So now we are going to talk about, Tom, we're just talking about, they're telling me what they read last night, except for Donald said he didn't get a chance, and that's fine. So the rest of you, tell me what it was about. What did you learn?
It just described the massive variety of adult students and their personalities that you have to deal with. It was almost overwhelming. I mean, it's one thing to read it all, but you know, they give you suggestions on how to deal with this type of person or that type of person. And I guess as a foreman in the field, I'm you know, different sites, you're talking to different people and so on and so forth. So you do come across this, but you need the experience of dealing with difficult people or quiet people or, you know, rude people or whatever. You just need the experience to know how to deal with these people. So the whole chapter was on that. It's like a psychological mind bender, really. So that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, since you don't have to worry about enough stuff, it gives you all these other options that you need to worry about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think everything with working with groups, and I think you said it best when you said you just have to experience it because you don't know how you're going to react to anything. It's easier for us to say, in this situation, I'm going to do this. In this situation, you're given the tools that you know how to handle them, but it's up to you how you incorporate this, because not every situation is going to be the same. I could say, oh, well, in this situation you need to this. Well, the people are different that you're dealing with, so they may not be able, you may not be able to talk them off the ledge as easy as you can some of the other ones. It's all because of all the personalities we've talked about. It is a person to person situation. There is not a catch-all, do-all that works for everybody. So I think just with experience, the more experience you get and the more people you deal with, you know, just as us getting older, how I deal with people now is probably 1,000 times different than how I dealt with people when I was 18 years old. I would think. I hope I've matured some since then. I have my doubts sometimes because sometimes your patience is shorter. It just depends. But with groups too, and it says, oh, you should think about this when you're doing groups and that. But you don't know what all these people are like, really. I mean, you get the version they want you to see in the classroom. And you might even get a totally different version on the job site.
Yeah.
So you just do the best you can with your experiences, and you will find out in time what works and what doesn't. I mean, that's the reality of working with students. Anybody else have any thoughts? Y'all are really quiet today.
I just think back to high school, and you have all these different classes with all different teachers. And I can think back to a few specific teachers that had 100% control and respect of the class. And then others, they just got walked over. And it was, you know, you just sit there going, this is a gong show. And then other classes, you couldn't even open your mouth. And it was, everybody was the same, whether you had the class clowns or the whatever. It's amazing how, you know, and it's those people's personalities that control it. And some people don't have it and some people do.
Oh, yeah. And if you let the class take control continuously, you will lose all credibility. You know, if you just let them take over and you just sort of sit there and take it all, I mean, you can't yell back at them, even though it is tempting. And some of my guys said, "Oh, I know how to fix that." And they tell me, I'm like, "Don't tell me that." But if you let them run over, in a classroom, it's much harder to learn when everybody's yelling out and you can't hardly hear the teacher. They have no control over the classroom. And you really lose respect for that teacher, which it's not always fair, but that is the reality of it. The students lose respect because they can't keep the control of the classroom. Because
So how do you,
go ahead.
so how do you, how do you maintain control without not yelling, but being firm and,
There's a difference.
like laying the law down? Like, how do you, because I got to be honest, man, like I read this and I did last year's training without teaching tech, and I ran into all this already. Like this is nothing new. Like I've had disrespectful students. I've had guys heckling me. I've seen all this already. So, and I've never had any formal training, and I've just dealt with it as a dad, or I dealt with it as like a foreman, like Arlen was saying. So, and my apprenticeship teacher, like he was a pushover, and I didn't want to be that. Like my apprentice, so I was gung ho on when I started doing this. I'm not going to let them kids come in there and push me around. Like that's not going to happen. So, so how do you do it? Like how do you get them to listen? But then, like you said, don't yell back. Well, if you got a
between yelling and being assertive.
If you got a heckler for 3 hours.
Well, I kick them out. And I don't know if you can do that or not, but I make them lose the day and lose the hours. I'm like, it's up to you, because I can't teach with you doing this. So I kick them out. And my boss is always,
Brian's done it. You can send them out. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I do it. If they are out of control, and that makes a difference because they're not going to get paid, or they're not going to get the hours. They're going to have to make it up. I'm like, it's up to you. You're an adult. If you're not going to act like an adult, then you need to get out. And it depends. One place said, especially when I have people that work with groups that they're not allowed to kick out, I can't even imagine. But mine, I can. When they're out of control and they're like, I paid for this class. So in my group, I'm like, well, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're not learning anything. So you're out. Like, can I come back? I'm like, that's up to you. Mm-hmm. If you can behave and act like a decent adult, then you can come back. But if you're going to act like that again, you're out. Because you should not have to take that, because nobody can hear because they're being so childish, and usually it has nothing to do with us. They're mad about something else. But y'all give your opinion, but I kick them out. Because if they take over and I can't get anything accomplished, you're frustrated, the class is frustrated, and that person's winning and you're not getting anything done.
People when you agree that they win anyways, because now as a trainer, it's my responsibility to train them. So if I kick them out, say it happens on a Monday, they come back Tuesday, same thing. I kick them out. Wednesday, they come back. It's a little better, but they're still being like, disruptive. So now they're already 2.5, 3 days behind everyone else. Now I got to stay after. Now I got to bend over backwards. You see what I mean? As a trainer, you want to make sure that they're,
I thought after if they miss, then they're out. Like if they miss so much, aren't they out? They'll have to start over. I don't know how yours goes.
Yeah, you can drop it, you can go to the board, and drop it.
Not for 2 days. You can't drop them for 2 days.
We have 8-week apprenticeship courses. If they miss 3 days, whether it's on their own accord or whether it's removed, they have to repeat the course.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, see, for us in DC4, so they got to make up that time no matter what, and we hold their raise until they make up that time. So it's a big thing when you hold somebody's money above their head, stating, if you don't do this and we have to kick you out, then we're going to hold your raise and you're going to lose thousands of dollars a year because you wanted to act like a fool in class. That helps out tremendously.
Yeah, I think every place sounds different. It
Yeah.
depends on what your rules are. And when you tell them the first day, because some of them can't miss, like you can miss 3. Donald says some you can miss like 2. One won't let you miss class at all. So I think it depends when you tell them on day 1, if you act up and if then I'm going to kick you out of class. And then you could tell them the repercussions, like what Bob said. If they don't get a raise, they don't get a raise. If they miss days and have to start their apprenticeship all over because they can't act decent, because they're going to do that they're going to be bad on the job site too. You don't want that on the job site. And they're not getting any work done because they're too busy thinking they're a comedian. And that's up to y'all. I mean, does anybody have some thoughts?
Let them know. Let them know it's serious. This is their career. If not, McDonald's is always hiring. We don't need it. You just got to be flat up, straight up with them.
Because if they're doing it in there's a good chance they're not going to be a good worker till they get their head straight.
See, the reality is it's exactly what we're talking. It is what about chapter 10, even though I didn't read it, I just breezed through it. That's what it's about. It's dealing with the different personalities.
Yeah.
It's knowing who you're dealing with.
I'm just
and
online.
being at the
class right now.
at the head of the helm of you being that one controlling that class.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
You get to set those standards. And if you got one person that's going to interrupt another 15, sorry, you got to go.
Yeah, because they're messing up everything, not just for you, but for the whole class. Because you can't get anything taught. I keep trying to get comfortable in my chair. You can't get anything taught because of that person. So to them, I would think getting kicked out and losing money and having to start the apprenticeship all over would be enough to make them just shut up. So
If not, it's their loss.
Yeah. And
You're
some
not-
of them, it's
not
horrible,
everybody's gonna be
but
perfect.
you may be better off without them. I mean, that's terrible, but some are not going to be that big of a loss if they're not going to be serious about the job. But it's hard. And on the job site, you're used to a different personalities and you can handle things different ways. I've heard a lot of ways you handle things on the job site sometimes.
Well, that's men out on the job site. That's my problem. I've been out in the field for 20 years. So, when I come in the classroom, I'm not as experienced on like all these scenarios that they gave you in chapter 10. Like I'm not going to, in the heat of the moment, I'm not going to remember what she said to do verbatim, on, I don't know, a heckler or someone that's,
and it comes with experience.
got an attitude. So, I'm a little rough around the edges when it comes to the classroom. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I just, and Brandon can vouch for that. He's seen me in action. I mean, he's but I run a tight ship, and I'm serious, and it's, I'm not putting up with disrespect and some of the things that go on here, the scenarios that we read about.
You shouldn't have to put up with disrespect, and you shouldn't have to, because you are the one in charge. And I guarantee everybody in this group has lost their temper at some time. And you may be having a really bad day and life just gets hold of you. And I've said some things I shouldn't say in the classroom. And after I say them, I know I shouldn't have said it. All I can do is say, yeah, I'm sorry. I got out of control and apologize, because we're all human. We all, especially because they like to press your buttons.
Oh yeah,
and they figure out how to press your buttons, and they do it on and on and on.
Right.
They know. So when you get that one kicked out, that's your better deal, because that's one that knows how to press your buttons, and they just think it's a game. To them, it's hilarious, and to us, it's serious. Because I've had some, they just think they're so funny, and at some point, you had all you can take. Has anybody in here lost their patience other than me and Thad?
Actually, he was a problem in one of the classes, and Ray was actually in that class with me. We were both instructing, and I lost my cool a little bit, and I made him look like a big fool in front of everybody, and he didn't say, I think, 2 words after that. And this was at the very beginning of the class. We had like another 3.5 hours with him. I don't think he said 2 words after that. So I definitely was in the wrong. And after reading chapter 10, I was like, ooh, wow. Everything I did was wrong on that one.
But we've all done it. I mean, we all have days like that. If it's with your kids or with your wife, I mean, we've all said something, or we know as soon as it comes out of our mouth or when we calm down, that wasn't our best choice. But we're human. I mean, and the more experience you get, the easier it is. And the more you're in the classroom, the more that it'll just go off your shoulder and you can ignore some of the things and straighten them out without letting it make you angry. Because I used to get, I'd get so mad. I just have to leave the classroom for a few minutes so I could just take a deep breath, not say what I'm thinking. Because if they think I'm mean in there, they would think I was much meaner if I said what I really had in my head. Because what I'm thinking and what comes out are two different things sometimes. I go straight sailor mouth, just I've hung out with construction workers since 2004. I got a foul mouth sometimes. And I've learned to fight back with a lot of venom. So yeah, it's hard. Just do the best you can and it gets easier. Don't you think, those of you that have taught a while, I mean, it gets easier. And some days you're still going to lose your patience, just like with your kids, just like with your wife or girlfriend. Some days your family, my mom, some days they just try your patience. The ones that learn how to press your buttons. Any other thoughts, y'all, right now before we start back and I harass you for a while?
That is harsh.
Y'all okay? My computer just went off over here. I got to clock out over there. Okay, we are going to go in. I think I'm going to read what you did tonight about the other two chapters. For some reason you didn't put in something, make sure you put something in the instructor lounge. Please watch that and just go through that class I gave you. It's small, it's short. I just want to know your real input on whether you think it's helpful information. I just want to know what you think.
So I'm a little bit behind that on that homework. So that means, for me to log into LMS, do I have to have an account with them? Because I tried my username as my member number, then my normal password I use for my instructor lounge, and it doesn't work.
You could always put in, well, Donald had trouble. So while we're on, put in forgot password. And
yeah, it won't, like, it says my email doesn't exist or something like that.
Okay, we'll definitely get with Alice then, or Alice is not with, I don't know if Ron can do that or not.
Try. Yeah. So Juan, we need to look at your password for the LMS.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying my my username as well, my member ID, but then I try my password and it doesn't let me. It doesn't do it. Says it doesn't exist or something like that.
All right, let me take a look real quick, and then I'll ping you. I'll send you a chat in this meeting. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That way we can get that fixed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Try FTI 123 for the password.
Mm-hmm. Let me try.
If you never logged on before, that's the original password before you change it to your own.
Yeah, and then you can change it.
I'm sure some people don't, unless it makes you.
Yeah, there's no personal information in there they're going to hack and steal from you. So
if somebody wants to come in and take your classes for you, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They would give you credit for going in there and doing the work. Let them. Did it work?
Trying.
Okay, I'm going to get up the PowerPoint again so I can harass you some more. That's my job. We talked about communication. Let me get that in there. I've already seen that.
You know, if Dad was talking about not being in the field for a while, I'm the opposite. I've been in the field for 20 years. You know, I know hundreds of guys. I've done glass in over 20 states. So I've kind of made a name for myself as far as sticking up for the guys, and I developed a lot of respect from the guys over the years, having their back. And, couple of things just happened where I've taken up for all the guys and prevailed. So they come into class knowing I'm serious, because most of the guys that I'm going to be teaching have already worked under me on several different jobs, and they know I'm a perfectionist. They know, if I can show you a shortcut, I will. And so I'm not worried about as far as a heckler, because I'll nip that in the butt off the rip. Plus all the other guys will probably nip it in the butt for me. I'm worried about being prepared, coming off professional, keeping it exciting, because that's all I'm getting from my apprentices in the field is, man, if I got to learn a set and block and how to cock this one more time, I want to learn something I'm going to use, or I haven't done before. That's my whole thing, getting done with this and then getting into a curriculum and, putting out, hey, heads up, this is what we're going to be doing this week, or let's all take a vote on what we want to do first, because this is what we're going to learn this semester and stuff like that. That's what I'm more worried about.
Well, I have been in the field for 20 years. I just come out of the field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was in the field for 20 years. I started last May. I come out of the field in May of last year.
Okay.
So I'm rough around the edges in the classroom. I'm good in the field.
We're all rough around even when I first started teaching. I mean, we're all rough around the edges when we first start. And some of us may stay rough, and that's what works for your classroom. Some of my teachers are a lot more stern, but it works for them, and they learn what they can and can't get by with in the classroom. You still have to have respect of the students too, because if you want them to respect you, you've got to show respect too, and not belittle them and not insult them. And it's only fair to give what you expect back. And that's hard sometimes too, because the way I know many apprentices were taught when years ago, their way of being taught was just insulted and screamed at the whole time they were apprentice. I know that's the way some apprentices were brought into the trade, and they did all the crap, and they took all the they just took a lot. So they're trying not to make it quite, because I don't know if you've noticed some of our younger students, and not those that are with us today, they're a lot more, I hurt people's feelings. I didn't even know I was capable of hurting students' feelings. And their little feelings are right up here on their shoulder. And
yeah, they're sensitive. Yeah.
They are sensitive. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I've made people cry. I'm like, if I can make you cry, what's going to happen when you go out in the real world? I mean, dude, I am like harmless. So if I'm going to make you cry, maybe you should just, stay at home, be in your parents' basement. I don't know. But
excuse me, Michelle, let me tell you guys something about Thad.
Oh, God.
I don't know why he brought up like the heckler and all that. His class is petrified of him.
Right.
Nobody heckles him. My students are even scared to walk by him.
Right.
So, and Michelle, you just talked about making people cry. I don't know if anybody in this group has as many criers as Thad had since May. He had, what'd you have, Thad? 6? Am I wrong?
Wow.
Yeah.
Six apprentices cry, and most of them were, the young 21, 22-year-old kids who just didn't want to listen. And Thad runs a straight class. Like, let me tell you guys, I can't express how tough he is. I don't know why he asked about the heckler there.
That's my
He's trying to appear sensitive.
Right.
He's not sensitive. I try and follow him up and try and act like a tough guy to my students, and they're like, "You're too nice for that."
Sounds like he wants to control
him. Says. And then I made some cry. I'm like, if I make you cry, Thad would kill them.
The whole class would be gone.
Yeah, Thad, don't get rough on yourself. Yeah.
Sounds like he wants to control 100% of the class and not that 1%.
That one
Nobody's getting away with anything.
I guess the journeyman is what I'm afraid of. Like when you do a journeyman upgrade, and you got a guy that comes in your class, and maybe you've worked with him in a field, or maybe you didn't get along with him in the field, and maybe he's just there to be, as you read in the scenario, he's he just has it out for you. He's trying to get you. That's my biggest fear is doing a journeyman upgrade. I can handle apprentices because they're like my kids, but as far as like the older guys that, oh, I don't want to be here. Why do I have to do this? This is stupid. You know, do we get any more money for getting the AGMT? You know, could I be more money for a certified welder? Why do I got to do this? That's what you know, that whole ball of wax. That's my fear, you know.
And they're going to be, some of them are
Right.
going to be your biggest jerks. There is no doubt about it.
Right.
And they're set in their ways. And when we're teaching them something new, they don't want to hear that. I have heard that some of the guys that I've worked with over years, they'll put some of the ones that are a bigger pain, put them sort of in a control position where they're helping you. And that diffuses it some. So you just have to see what works for you, because the journeymen are a different breed, because and especially for those of you that you're a lot younger than the journeyman, that's hard sometimes too, having someone young coming in and telling them what to do after they've been in the field all that time. Yeah, that like you said, Thad, you've worked beside them. That's hard sometimes. Or they feel like, you know, and I've laughed because some of them are like, I've got socks older than you. I'm like, well, that's nasty. That's just nasty. Or they'll say something like that. I'm like, underwear. I'm like, it may be time to change. I mean, it may be, because I'm a smart aleck. So that's my gift, and that's also my enemy, because I was raised by a really big smart aleck, my father, and that's the first thing that pops out is just sarcasm. So when they treat me bad, I've got to really catch and not let it go as far as it could go. So does anybody have any thoughts on the journeyman upgrades?
Know your facts. If you know your facts, they've got nothing to say about it. And if you're spitting off facts right off the bat, especially facts that they might not know, they're going to respect you a lot. I know when I was helping teach my first OSHA 30 class with all journeymen, and they're all glazers, which I was not a glazer, but luckily when I took my OSHA 30 or my OSHA 500 and everything, my presentation was on scaffolds and everything. And so I just told them some facts on some scaffolds that they probably didn't know, and they didn't know. And it just kind of, you know, right away, then they were looking at me like, oh, this guy does know what he's talking about, even though he's younger than us. And, you know, and in here. So definitely know your facts and make sure they are correct before you do spit it out.
Oh
yeah, because they will, and you're going to make mistakes sometimes.
Right. You misspeak. You misspeak and say one misspoken word, and don't, like the scenario said, they'll jump all over you. They're waiting to jump all over you, you know. So that's my, you know. And then once that happens, and then you get all frazzled.
Yeah.
You know, then you get frazzled. Now you're in a tailspin. You can't talk. You can't get straight. You know, that's my biggest thing I have to work on.
Only if you let it.
That comes with experience.
Yeah.
It'll only happen that way if you let it.
Yeah, you just gotta take a deep breath and don't let them get the best of you. But we're all gonna make mistakes. I mean, and they have this little tool right here, and they will go in and look something up and say, that's wrong. I've had my little angelic darlings go, that's not what this says. Of course, sometimes it's wrong too, but it's just learning how not to let it put you in a tailspin, because they just can't seem to help themselves, some of them. That is their goal. Their goal is to just be a smart aleck. So yeah, I think with experience, it'll get easier. I really do.
Okay.
It's just at first it's hard. There's so many things that you're not used to doing. You're used to being out on the job site. This is a totally different world. So it's just something that comes with experience. Believe it or not, Brandon, he'll probably chill out a little bit. Man, look at that serious look. Maybe not a whole lot, but a little.
Brandon, you think I'm going to chill out?
He's like, no.
He's going to get tougher and tougher, and I'm going to sit there and watch it and enjoy it.
Well, I used to be so nice and so gullible. And one of my came as student came and said, I heard you were nice and you were easy. I said, it's people that told you that's probably that changed me. I mean, now I'm just a jerk. I don't believe anything they tell me. I just assume they're lying. When they come up with the excuse, I just assume they're telling me a lie. Because like I said, I've had the same grandparent die more than once. They lied to me about COVID. One lady lied to me about her kid having COVID, and that was a lie. What kind of parent is that? Heck, she probably don't even have kids. I mean, people lie so much. I don't believe anything. That's horrible. I'm jaded now. I'm a jaded teacher.
Well, that's why I didn't read chapter 10 because I got COVID.
Right.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Wow, you're doing really good today with your COVID. You must be one of those asymptomatic ones.
It's that toque.
Oh Lord, has any of you had COVID?
Nope.
No.
None of you have?
I had it.
Tom has. Juan has. Jason has. Jason has.
My business agent died in August from it.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
my uncle just died 3 days ago from it.
Oh my God.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
sucks.
Damn.
Yeah, and he did have underlying issues. Yeah, but that's one thing. My stepmom was in the hospital for 8 weeks on a ventilator, in a coma, but she's better now. So,
Wow.
you know,
That's pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's like actually here's somebody that makes it. My dad's 81 and he just lost 20 pounds and felt like crap, but he got better. Yeah, both my parents have had it and my stepmom. I haven't. Knock on all this pretend wood circling around me. And
Yeah, I had
everybody
it back in March in Texas, in Austin, and didn't even know I had it. And then went to do a plasma donation, and then my plasma jumped up to $300 a pop because I was creating the antibody. So
Oh
it's
man.
lucrative for me.
Oh, you gonna go give out your plasma and make you some money. Well, dang, that would have been one positive thing. I'm gonna send my mama to give some plasma. She's always talking about how broke she is. I like, Mom, and she's scared to death of needles though. So here we go. Diversity. I think y'all learned about diversity yesterday. How there's so much more to it. Before it was just diversity. People say, well, it's a color thing. No. Oh, it must be a different country. No. So you've got religion, you've got age, you've got disability. You have so many, and you're going to have some students, and maybe you won't, but I have, that can't read. I had a student that how he got into college, I want to know this, but he was having the hardest time, so we had him tested, but he was a really good football player. That's when I taught at Marshall. And he was on a 3rd grade reading level and got into college. Never had taken his own test because he was such a good football player. And they did that poor kid a disservice. And then when he was trying to learn and he didn't understand why, is because he did not have he'd been never given any testing. So you're going to have people that can't read at all sometimes. You know, some of mine, and you don't want to embarrass them. And that's not something they're always comfortable telling you. And that's going to be hard too, because most of the things you do, they're going to have to be able to read. English as a second language, that's hard because they know how to read, but they know how to read a different language. So all of this comes into play with diversity. Then we get into drug problems. And you can't just come out and say, hey, you got a drug problem? That's not really appropriate in the classroom. But now it's easier to tell somebody has an alcohol problem than it has a drug problem. Because usually alcohol, you can smell it. You can't smell drugs, but you can tell, but there's no way. And someone asked, they said, well, what do you do in that case? All I can do is say, hey, I can tell there's some things going on. If I can help you with anything, please tell me. I don't know what it is. And I said, but, tell me if you need some help. But you don't want someone that is abusing drugs and alcohol on the job site, because they could get somebody killed. So all we can do, and especially with those of you that are in apprenticeship, you're with these kids all the time. And you'll be able to tell when something's going on, when there's some changes, or if they do have a problem, you'll probably be able to tell pretty quickly. But again, all you can do is say, hey, offer some help. But that's one of our problem students too. If they're drunk or if they're high in the classroom, they're pretty disruptive too. I've had some that I could smell them when they came in the door. I mean, they were smelling so strong. And me being a smart, I'm like, ooh, I think that you should have your windows down when you're driving to work school tomorrow. And they're like, hey, Miss Cooper, what do you mean? I said, I smell ode to pot in my classroom. Or maybe it's ode to marijuana. I'm not sure, but you really need to think about this. Because in my state, it's illegal. So coming to class smelling like that's not a smart idea. Coming to the job site, especially if it's illegal. And I think most of your people get tested. I said, use common sense. I mean, that's just stupid. You don't get tested up there. He goes, nope. Most of ours, students don't get tested in the classroom, but I still tell them, if I can smell it when you walk in the door at 8 a.m., and you're so strong, the whole class smells like it, that's a problem. Yeah, if it's not my business what you do away from class, but just have some common sense. Roll the windows down, do something. So then again, it may affect their performance, their behavior. And this is how you're telling if they are having drug problems. You may see some paraphernalia. I don't know. There's so many different things involved. And again, it could cause absenteeism. It's dangerous. All of these are different problems that could cause things in the classroom or on the job site. You don't want to send somebody that you know is drunk all the time out on the job. You don't want to send someone that's high on drugs all the time out on the job. You're asking for some insurance liability problems, or someone could get killed or they could kill themselves. So you do what you can, and again, offer help. Behavioral, and that depends too. This is just different things that you might be able to tell when there's problems. And again, unusual bruising on skin. Well, I have bruises all the time and I'm not doing drugs. But all of these are just possibilities. Yeah. I think I must be on drug. I'm easily fatigued, constantly fatigued. I'm doing drugs and didn't even know it. So all of these are theoretical. And most people are not going to show you their drug paraphernalia when they're out on the job site. You hope not. But these are all things that you could possibly see. And you have drug rehab. And I know that some of yours, if they have an accident and they are high or they are drunk, that one of the options is they have to go to rehab at a lot of your places. And a lot of your insurance does offer. So if you could help somebody, that'd be great. If you could get them help. And of course, like everything, until they want help, there's nothing you can do. But if maybe
quick question to everybody out there, does everybody's union, do they have programs to help out, people that have a drug problem or alcohol addiction?
Yeah. IUPA's got programs too that you can check into. Yep.
Do you have them?
We are actually affiliated through the building trades in Ontario, where actually every construction worker that's a part of the building trades, 2 cents an hour, goes into funding our treatment center at De Novo Treatment Facility up in Huntsville.
Ooh. So there's no reason. I mean, if they really want help, it's there for them. If they really do. Some people are just going to tell you what you want to hear. You know that. But if we can get some help and get their life straightened out, that's a great thing. And a lot of my students have already been there, done that. And they've already found the light at the end of the tunnel. So I think that's even better when you have somebody that's working that they do know. And it's easier for them to talk. Like if there's somebody that you have on staff that's already gone through the program and it's worked for them, if they can talk to them, that's awesome. Because it'd be much easier, because I've never had an alcohol or drug problem. So if I'm telling somebody something, I'm just stating, stuff that I've read, stuff that I've learned. And I mean, I hope I can give them some insight, but when you find people that have really been there, done that, that's the best thing, especially when you have some people when they're coming back from the military. A lot of issues going on with that too. A lot of PTSD, a lot of things going on. If you have somebody that can talk to them that's been there, done that, that helps too. And I've had, all those in my classroom. And I try to find somebody that can actually feel and been there and know what they're going through. Because again, I can say stuff all day long and I do care, but I haven't been through that. So it's harder for me to really relate. And a lot of people that are teaching in these programs, they've already been there. So if we can get them help, that is awesome. This is a communication video. We're skipping that because I want us to get through this. And for communication, the main thing is the person that you're sending your information to is getting what you're sending. I can talk all day long. That don't mean we're communicating. That doesn't mean that you're listening to me. That doesn't mean you're understanding. But the process is two-way. I am communicating something to you. You actually understand what I'm saying and you get the message I am sending you, and then you can give feedback. But I'm sure, and we talked about this too yesterday, there's so many times you think what you're saying makes sense, but the person you're saying it to doesn't get the message. And that's when we have misinterpretations and verbal and nonverbal. Nonverbal is even bigger than verbal. If you're saying one thing, but your facial expressions, the way you're acting is the opposite, they're going to pick up on the opposite more than what you're saying. Just like, when your wife is saying, "Oh, I'm fine," but that tone of "I'm fine" is BS because she's saying "I'm fine," but you're supposed to read her mind and know she is not fine at all, and your life is getting ready to be very hard for at least a day, an hour, a week, a month. But the verbal, and she's saying one thing, but that's not what she means. Anybody been there? So, verbal, nonverbal. So there's a lot more people get from nonverbal than verbal. Some of y'all don't get it even though you're supposed to. I don't blame you. I don't understand people that think you should read their mind. That confuses me. But there's so many in there. You should just know. What's wrong? Oh, you should know. I'm like, no, I don't know.
You figure it out.
Yeah, it's your job. You should know what you did. So for nonverbal, our gestures, our body language, signals, all of this, people pick up on more. And if you've got one of those, what is that? RBS, if you know what that is. Does anybody know what RBS is? It's called resting bitch face. If you have one of those where you look mad all the time, but you're not, then people, have you ever had any of those where they interpret you're angry or you're just mean or mad because that's your facial expressions? So you say, Nicole's going, yes, I do.
Yeah. So when you see me at work, like when you finally get to the training center, I'm very nice, but my face, if I'm like concentrating on something or if I've got something on my mind and you see me, everybody's like, whoa, look at, and I'm like, no, I'm fine.
And I'm the one that's all smiling and look happy all the time. And inside my head, I'm going, I'm so mad. I'm the opposite. I look happy all the time. And in my head, all other kind of things are going on. But yeah, that's a verbal and nonverbal. It's not even intentional, but it's the way your students. And my over emotional students, are you mad at me? I'm like, I don't even know your name yet. I hadn't even had time to be mad at you yet. No, but they'll read in your facial expressions and they'll read emails. They get emails. So verbal is sounds, but even the way you talk in the tone you talk, people read things the way you're talking. So try your best that your verbal and nonverbal are matching. So what are barriers of communication? Well, sometimes when you're tired, poor listening skills is huge because you're barely listening, you're in a hurry, and you don't get what they're saying. And that, again, miscommunication, fear, mistrust, poor attitude, personal problems, all those are playing inside and they can affect what's going on outside. Noise, interruptions, technical difficulties. Texting is horrible. You cannot read emotion in texting. So that is a wonderful way of miscommunication is to text, because you think they're getting something off what they're texting and they're not even meaning close to what you're saying. Or that crazy thing that says if it's in all capitals, they're mad.
Yeah, they're yelling. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my mom don't know how to turn the cap locks off, so she's not yelling, she just don't understand. So yeah, it depends the person and the age. So
You can
can't
say
do
whatever you
that.
want through. You could say whatever you want through text as long as you put LOL after it.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny. And for Tom, I sent your little angel a bunch of texts today with really cute pictures on it when he sent me a text.
Poop
So I
emojis
made sure.
everywhere.
Huh?
Poop emojis everywhere.
Oh Lord, I hadn't put any poop. It just looks like me. It's like one of those that looks just like you, but I'm going all kinds of stupid stuff. I said, this amuse me. I'm easily amused. We can't back to back draw right now because none of you are back to back. So we're going to keep going. Active listening. You need to be an active listener. Try to concentrate on what the person's talking to. Oh, there he is. I sent him some cute pictures. You'll have to show Tom my cute pictures. So you have to pay attention.
I'll go
So
look.
it's easy to listen. You're not hearing at all. You're listening, sort of. But to active listening, you are actually looking at the person, you are understanding, and you're putting your full attention, which is so hard, full attention on that person. And you're not just standing there when they say something, and all of you have probably been there or seen someone that does it. One word will pop in their head that you've said, and they're so excited to tell their story about what that one word meant to them that they stopped listening to you a long time ago. Don't be one of those. Don't have to be the one up. Oh, I have a story. I have a story. And in your head, you're like, oh, I got a good story. Just hurry up and shut up so I can tell you my story. So you're not even listening to what they're saying anymore. Anybody done that? Not y'all. Y'all perfect. No. I'm bad for it too. And teachers are great storytellers. So you got to be careful with that one up. The bigger fish story. Or if you hunt, the deer, yours might have more antlers. Who knows? If you hunt, I eat. I do not hunt. I can't kill them. They've already got to be looking like something else. It can't look like the cute little critter they are. It's already got to be made into something else. It's the truth. I'm not ashamed. I'll eat deer all day long, but it's got to look like just meat. If it looks like Bambi and still has a head, no. It's not working for me. I'm a country girl that's never been hunting or fishing. I'm not a good country girl. So for active listening, and again, ask questions, pay attention, look who you're talking to. Don't talk with them. And sometimes it's better just to repeat what they said in a summarize and make sure you understood, because it's hard to understand people. And that's just a little video too. And if any of y'all have seen this before, anybody know what this movie is?
Right here, dude.
Fast Times.
Great movie.
So
Fast
any of you
Times.
older people, what was the movie?
Fast Times. Ridgemont
Yeah,
High.
Fast Times
Fast
at
Times at
Ridgemont High.
Ridgemont High.
And he's teaching class, and he orders a pizza. So right in the middle of class, a pizza is delivered, and because he's not paying a bit of attention. So that's just the Bueller. They talk on and on. So difficult participants, we've already talked about them. The talker, the arguer, the quiet one, the complainer, the unconsciously incompetent, Have any of you ever had that? Somebody that just asks questions on it. You never get to finish the sentence. They have to ask a question. They don't think. They're not listening. So that's why they have to ask so many questions. They just keep spouting out. And usually those don't even realize. The distractor, the rambler. And all of these, let's see what time it is.
You left out button pusher.
The what? The button pusher?
Button pusher.
Oh yeah, there's the button pusher. There it is at the Know-It-All University. That's one of them. The know-it-all, opinionated, and the hard to disagree with. I bet y'all not had any of them. But all these are people that are just try this. Let's hear this one. Use the talking piece only. The person with the piece can talk. Hey, you can try that. Say, hey, if you have a question, you got to have like a little coin or something and it's your turn. Well, you can see if that works. I just tell mine to shut their mouth. I used to be nice and say, please be quiet, calm down. And toward them, I'm like, just shut up. Just shut your mouth. Just cut it. Shut. And before they talk, I'm like, zip, zip. But that's after I've been with them a long time, all semester. And I know they're just talking to hear themselves talk. I'm like, I'm done. No, we're all laughing and they know. I'm like, just shut it. I don't want to hear it. So thank the person for their opinion and move on to a new subject matter, or ask others for their opinion. Have a private conversation with that person. If you can, when you are calling down a student, they usually take it out of your control. It is best to talk to them away from the classroom. Say, hey, I want to talk to you outside the class. Some of mine will not allow that to happen. They will keep on until I am forced to discuss it in front of everybody. I don't like to do that unless I have to. But if they're going to keep on, you have to tell them out. It's like, hey, if you keep this up, I am kicking you out. You are out of this program. You are out of this class. But I like to talk to them and warn them first. But again, you have some of those that are so out of control, you don't have that option. They will not let it go and they will not shut up. So you're forced to address it in front of the whole class. Any of y'all have that problem?
And then you make them cry.
And then you make them cry, Dad.
There he is.
That's me.
But I warn them. But let's talk about this after class. I give them every warning. I don't want to talk about this in front of the whole class. And most of the class knows if I say that, I'm irritated. And so if they force the issue, then I will have to call them down and discuss it in front of everybody. I don't think that's your best option, but sometimes they make it out of your control.
I think what happens to me is I try to be diplomatic and I try to be like calm, and then it just keeps going. And then I just let it keep going, and then it just, yeah. So I got to learn to be like, you're either going to do it like this or you're going home.
Yeah. And it's simple. And you tell them, I mean, you gave them the warning. And if they don't respect that, then you have to send them out because everybody heard you say it. And if you don't, you lose credibility. So
Right.
They press the issue and they force you to do it. Because if I make a rule and then someone presses the rule and I've made it in front of everybody, then that's on their own. I am forced to enforce that rule because I said it in front of everybody. And if I don't enforce it, I lose credibility. So if I tell them, like that parent that says, now, if you don't stop, I'm going to whip you. And I warned you if you don't stop. So like 25 times, and that kid knows they're not getting whipped. They're just going to say the same thing over and over. So that parent has no credibility. You've got to make sure if you say you're going to enforce it in a certain way, you have to enforce it. Unfortunately, you have to, it's out of your control. And I've told students, I'm like, if you make me say it in front of everybody, just like I say, if you have a problem in class, you need to tell me privately. Don't do it in front of everybody. Because if they ask me in front of everybody, can they leave early? Nope. If they ask me if I can open up a test or something in front of everybody, nope. I said, if you force it to be public in front of everybody, you're not going to like the answer. So if they force me to enforce some of my rules, they're not going to like it. But you tell them up front, you give them that first day, you tell them the situation, what your rules are. And if they do, if after that, that's on them. Don't the rest of you think that? When you lay down the law, you tell them what you expect of them, you tell them the repercussions of what's going to happen. So then if they don't do what you say, you're sort of forced to give them that punishment you said you were going to do. Not, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. You can't do that, Thad. And look down on that.
No, I know I'm not allowed to touch him.
Listen, he goes, I know I'm not allowed to touch him. I tell you, if I could force a lot of them to do stuff, I don't know. I just think whipping wasn't that bad. I got whipped a bunch of times. Look how great I turned out.
Right.
I got whipped in school. They had whippings in school when I was growing up. I'm from the South. They would take out a wooden paddle and they would whip you in front of everybody, bend you over, and let the whole class watch you getting paddled. That is humiliating. And that's for not doing homework. I'm like, dude, I would love to be able to paddle students for not doing their homework. Not you, Donald. I wouldn't paddle you.
I was just about to say, do I got to duck out now?
Wow.
Not adults. They take things in a different direction. So I don't want to paddle adults. Some of those creepos would probably like it. So now
Some people get paid for it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, yeah, there you go. So classroom management. And it's all what we've already talked about. The arguer finds fault with all the material, finds fault. I've had some that are just, they don't hear anything I say, but like, there's a mistake in this book. On page 275, this is misspelled. Now, they don't know anything. I think they just went through the whole book and tried to find mistakes. They don't know anything that book said, but they can find a mistake on page 275. Like, young people got too much time on your hands. You know what they meant. We'll change it later. But you've got to argue, find fault with everything. Again, these are just approaches. I'm going to move forward. You can read these and just get some ideas. Normally, I really like for you to go out and find out. Let me go back and see. How many are these? I would like, this is going to be a quick assignment. And this would be great for all of you. And when you go out and you Google, don't take the very first answer, or most of you are going to use the same one. I want you to go out right now, and I'll give you about 10 minutes to find out how to handle disruptive students in the classroom. Don't choose the first link that comes up, or you'll all have the same one. So it can be anything that has to do with handling students, difficult students in the classroom, or difficult participants. I want all of you to find that for me right now. And I will give you it about, will 10 minutes be enough? 10 minutes be enough?
I would say.
Okay, cool. I had a couple people answering, so I'm going to skip this because you're going to tell me about this here in just a minute. It can be any of these, the quiet one, the arguer. You can look it up that way, and that's in your little book. However you want to take this, I would like to know about classroom management.
How many points do you want?
Just talk about it for a few minutes, so it doesn't have to be huge. 25 points. I'm kidding. I want 25 bullet points in 10 minutes. That'd be awesome.
Go.
Yeah, so our taping and commercial and residential painters, they go 1 day a week, every other week, so just twice a month. But then our industrial guys, a lot of them are out of town, so they'll go a week at a time. They'll come back in, go a week at a time, and then I guess it's just once a month, 1 week a month.
Yeah, that block learning.
Yeah, some of the other trades do it differently here. I believe electricians do it they do night school.
Right.
So they don't lose any time at work at all. Actually, when I did my advanced, I was lucky enough. I was actually, I did my advanced back in 2007, and I did school during the day, and my work offered an afternoon shift. So I would leave and go to work until midnight. And then I also had a new baby at the time. So
Oh,
for that 8 weeks, I didn't get much sleep.
That's hard functioning at that
But
time.
I didn't have to draw unemployment. I got full wages. So it was good that way.
Man.
I read in chapter 10, adults over 40 have a hard time learning from 1 in the afternoon till 4. So I don't know what to say about this Zoom, man, here on the East Coast. Like I don't know. I don't know about this.
Might have to do these at 6
Look
a.m.
up that part of the book. I don't recall that being in there.
It's in there.
It's in there. It's a small print.
Don't get it in my book.
Yeah. The only I did feel sorry for for some reason there wasn't enough time for the guys that work in Disney World. They're working at Disney World, so they work so much, and there were so many part-times. They had me go to them, and I had them for 10 hours, and then they had to go work all night long, because that's the only time you can work at Disney World after the park closes, because they don't let anybody to ruin the magic. So those poor guys and girls were listening to me for 10 hours. Then they'd take a little nap, and then they'd have to go work all night and get up in the morning. I mean, not get up in the morning, go straight from work and listen to me again. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine.
They had some magic, all right.
Oh man, that is really cool. I got to go there at night because we'd go check on the guys working and girls. I don't know why I say guys, but man, the whole park is still lit up and it's just as cool, but there's not one person there. It's awesome. Still cool. But yeah, when I worked with them, I don't know how they did that. I mean, it was just for, I think, 4 days though. 4 days is a long time to get no sleep. Of course, 8 weeks is a long time to get no sleep. Are y'all ready to start back and teach me something? I'll think yes. I'm going to make it large here so I can see everybody and put y'all in my little order of the Brady Bunch again. And then y'all mix me up and I'll have to remember who went and who didn't. Let me switch here. You did. Don't worry, you're not completed. That's just completed day 2. We're starting day 3 after you do this. So don't get excited over there. So now I am going to do the share so we can see you a little bit bigger. Okay, stop share. Oh, there's some chat. Better make sure it's not for me.
We were talking earlier. That's when we were talking earlier about your wife saying she's fine.
I love that. I'm laughing. That's awesome. That's exactly true. Here we go. There are some advantages of being raised by a father. Because he's like, no, you just tell him. Of course, he also said if somebody bullies you, you punch him in the face as hard as you can. And then they may beat you up, but at least they'll think twice about it again. I'm like, great, Dad. Just punch them as hard as you can, right in the face. I said, well, then what if that makes them madder? Well, at least they'll think twice next time. Great. Say, Jason, you're Bauer. Yeah. Jason. Jake thought I said Jake. I said Jason, not Jake. Chill. You hear him barking down? He looked at me like, not Jake, Jason. Go ahead, Jason Bauer. You're going to tell me what you learned.
Well, I learned that even though if a student is being disrespectful or disruptive, you should still be respectful towards them. Most students that are disruptive is because of their own insecurities or their own frustrations. Just remind them that no one's forcing them to be there. You know, if they don't want to be there, then they can leave, you know, and And the way with us, with our school, you got to have so many school hours, you got to have so many work hours to advance to get your raise and advance, up the ladder. And so just remind them that if they don't want to be there, they're welcome to leave.
Exactly. How about Bob? What did you find, Bob? We're going in my Brady Bunch squares again.
So I was looking at the arguer, and because I've dealt with somebody like that before. One of the things was just tell them that you agree to disagree. Let them know that what you're teaching is just what you're teaching, maybe not necessarily what you agree with. Try to diffuse the situation by using humor. Ask for evidence and statistics for what they're saying and trying to argue with you about. A lot of times these people just, it's something they heard possibly and not maybe actual facts or anything. You can always kick them out of class to diffuse the situation. Definitely don't do what I did and make them look like a fool in front of everybody. That's from what I understand is the wrong way to go about it. It was very effective, but wrong.
Yeah, I think we've all done that before.
Yeah, that's about what I got.
Okay, Thad, you're my next square. What did you learn?
Well, I Googled how to stay calm around button pushers. And I was on mindwellnyc.com and they gave me 8 tips on how to stay calm around button pushers. So they said speak calmly and clearly. They said don't make it personal. Radiate kindness. Gently shine a light on their behavior. You can only control your reaction. Put your negative vibes aside. Reframe their words. And Michelle, you're going to have to explain this one to me. Lead with love, not fear.
Oh, don't you like that one?
Yeah.
We're going to have to talk about that one a lot, Thad. Or we're going to have a separate class on that.
No, not separate. Just real quick. How do you?
FTI 10,001, how to love instead of fear.
Right.
Well, for me, and then of course everybody laughs at me because when y'all say somebody in class that I've had in class, but I love them. It's like, oh my God, you love everybody. But I do. There's very few students I haven't liked over the years, but none in Baltimore. A few scared me, but I like them. They just scared me a little bit. But I keep going through with what I'm saying, like the union, and I keep pushing the fact that we're all supposed to work together and a brotherhood and sisterhood when there's women, and you're supposed to, it's my job to make you employable because I want to help you with a career. I want to help you have something that's long lasting. And so that's when I start with, I'm here to help you. That's my lovey-doveys.
Oh,
and
okay.
That's my love because I'm here to help you. I'm here because we are the union, because we are a brotherhood, that I'm here to help you get that career and make more money and get good benefits. And, that's my lovey-doveys. That's
Okay.
how
I was doing it and I didn't even know it.
See,
So
you're
there
good.
you go.
Because
You're a loving guy,
that's my warm and fuzzies. That's my warm and fuzzies because I want you to succeed. And that's my students like, you just want to fail me. I'm like, no, that wouldn't make me look good if everybody in the class failed. That is not my goal. I want you to succeed. I want you to be employable. I want you to get a great job and have a nice house and have a good life. That's part of my job. I want
Great.
you.
Now we're all in love. Great.
See, that's my job. I'm sending you love and sunshine. One of the smart alecks, did I tell you what one of y'all said? He says, I think you shit sunshine and rainbows. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I do. I'm a unicorn. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, I know we're being recorded, but one of the guys looked at me and said that, and I'm like, I don't know what I was supposed to say. I'm like, oh, thank you. I do. How did you know? Yeah, but it is. That's because to me, if they get a job where they can succeed, now selfishly, that's going to help with your pension. But
Right.
if they keep going, but that's my lovey-dovey's. That's what kind of love I get, not the hugs, because now we got to worry about COVID too, and everybody wants to sue you all the time. So you got to be careful with that.
Didn't even know it.
See, but that's our job. That's why they're there. We want them to succeed, even though they don't believe us sometimes. How about you, Donald? What did you find?
I did a generic. I ended up doing a search for how to deal with difficult students found on smartclassroommanagement.com. 7 rules. Rule 1 was to not question them. Like, just don't question. If they're off on their own thing, don't question it. Just let them figure it out themselves. Don't ask them why they're having the behavior, why they're disrupting. Just nip it in the bud. Rule number 2 was don't argue with them. Number 3 is don't lecture and scold or yell at them. And number 4 was don't give false praise. I like that one. So if they're doing the minimal effort or trying to do whatever they can minimally, don't give them a pat on the back for that. If you know they can do better, if they're able to not interrupt your class the way that you want them to. Rule number 5, don't hold a grudge. That's probably the hardest for all of us to do, because once they hit my ego, that's Thad, this one was rule number 6. It actually said Thad's rule. It says don't lose your cool. Rule number 7, I thought this one was interesting, is don't ignore misbehavior. So don't just ignore the student. Actually address it. Don't let them get away with it. And through that, I also saw a neat little thing that says if you want to avoid an argument 9 out of 10 times, ask the person directly, do you want comfort or do you want a solution?
Cool. But I mean, there you go. Did that help? I love when you go out and find information. How about you, Harlan? What'd you find?
Okay, so I don't know what website it was on, but a couple of the items I picked up on, and this might be to prevent the bad behavior from starting, is to praise good behavior. So in the class, anybody that's doing well, that's a great thought. Maybe you can expand on that. Encourage people to talk a little bit more. I think back to when I was taking night school classes a number of years back, and some of the best classes, the instructor became more of a facilitator. A subject would come up and he would just cycle it around the room and people would share their ideas and you'd learn off of that. So that was really good. It got people into it rather than just sitting there with the grumpy face, like, I don't want to be in this. But now all of a sudden there's something pertinent to what they do and they feel like they're part of it because they're sharing their story. So, become a facilitator one time instead of just, instructing people on what to do. What Bob had mentioned, a little bit of humor. Everybody's got a different personality. I'm a bit of a joker and I tend to think I get along with people because I can, just a lot of humor, right? Just similar to you.
Yeah.
I didn't do too many, but that was some of the things that I recall.
Oh, that's awesome. Let me see where you've jumped around on me again. When I was doing something, all my people jumped around. But all of those and some of you are like, oh, if you hear one, you're like, I don't like that. I don't think that'd work for me. You don't have to do them all. These are just ideas. You don't have to do every single one of them. You don't have to give all that love, Thad, but you can give that love. You said you already were. How about one? What did you find?
Well, I went on Google and searched what was it? How to handle this disruptive behavior, and I found some tips. So it was basically said, speak with the person privately, confront the behavior, not the person. Speak for yourself, not the class. Seek to understand the reason why he was disruptive. Ask the person for recommendations or the solution. what is it? Review your expectations of the class behavior if necessary, and try to get agreement or that's not a good one.
That's fine.
Explain any consequences of continued disruptions, basically.
And all of those go with what we've been talking about. And I mean, they are, if you don't, again, you've heard now, you have to address it. Because if you let it keep continuing, it's going to get out of control.
When I was a little bit younger, because I'm still young, when I was going to college, I took a psychology class, and it taught you how to read people, you know, and that has helped me a lot in the field. Just because there's many people that can't take a joke, and there's people that are so sensitive, you know, and nowadays you gotta know people, just, you know, to communicate. Because there's, like, I have a coworker, man. If people don't know him, he thinks he's the most, I don't want to say any cuss words or anything, but, you know, he's the most butt, you know. But he's if you get to know him and if you know his personality, he's one of the coolest guys. He just has a bad way to communicate with people, and a lot of people don't like him. So you gotta learn how to read people too, you know. Sometimes like we gotta understand we're in this because, you know, we have apprentices that are going to pay for pension back, you know. So we got to try to keep them inside, you know. Also,
exactly.
We can't just, you know, I mean, they're kids nowadays. Kids, you got to babysit them, basically. To be honest with you, and I learned that. I mean, I'm still young, but I learned the rough way, you know. So, I mean, when I was an apprentice, I used to get yelled at all the time. I used to clean tools for journeymen, and I hated it, but it got me to where I'm at now.
Yeah, and they're a sensitive group coming up. They're so sensitive, and that's just something I wasn't used to have your feelings hurt so easy.
Yeah,
like you said, we still got to keep them. You need people coming in for the union. And they're like, well, I don't have to. I'm like, yeah, you have to learn how to deal with them, because you need good, fresh workers coming in continuously, because you don't want this to die out. So even if you have to learn how to handle them and handle the new personalities, yeah, it could be worse things.
Yep.
No pension. That would be worse. That's why I said, if nothing else, think of it on a selfish aspect. You got to keep people coming in to get your pension. How about you, Raymond? You're on my next square. You're so lucky.
A little research here on the topic. I Googled managing disruptive adult learners, scrolled way to the bottom, and found an article from the University of Washington faculty. Best practices for managing disruptive behavior. I won't go through all of it, but the one thing that I liked is the ability to use prior planning to avert the possibility. Setting the stage early, expectations in a classroom, I know in past experience has helped. So while they mentioned a syllabus, we might not necessarily have a syllabus per se, but a class outline in which you can also use to, you know, kind of list what they're going to learn in the class, but what your expectations are of behavior, so that you've clearly identified what disruptive behavior is right out of the gate. And then you can handle isolated incidents using that is kind of a launch pad to.
Oh yeah.
There were some pretty interesting things in this, you know, which deviate from my prior training on how to handle this kind of thing, which was basically right out of Full Metal Jacket. I was surprised to learn that corporal punishment's not an option. And I was also surprised to learn that you can't just isolate the person and then punish the rest of the class for their indiscretion and make the class hate that person so that they help you defeat them. I was surprised that that's not actually something that you're allowed to do, but good article.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing if you tell them, there it said again, tell them straight up what you expect of them, what they should expect of you, and what happens if they don't follow through. So you tell them straight up, and so that sort of forces your hand. You say, hey, I warned you, it's out of my control now. This is the rules. This is the way it is. So how about you, Eduardo? What you got up there?
All right. I find a few, things that you can do as a trainer, how can you reach the people? One that caught my attention, is be aware of culture difference. Right now, I mean, you find so many different people for different backgrounds, so we need to be aware, how to speak to them, how to reach to them, say the not bad things about it. Another ones that you have to do is adjust the volume when you speak, be prepared. I mean, I like that too. Keep calm, be positive, have a routine, how you do stuff every day, share your expectations, set a goal, be firm and direct. Another thing is set the rules, before you go into the class. I mean, I think that's very critical, to get everybody on the same page right before you start the class, or even right before you start the semester, So if you can have a rule set, and on the board or something, I mean, it's something that you can do, like cell phones, not to smoke on the training areas, and just behave. I think that's very critical for us, that we can set those rules and have it right on the wall all the time so they can see it. I mean, that's something that is working for us over here. So we try to do that all the time. And it's better for them, like I tell the people, if you don't show to the class, I say, you're not going to get a raise. That's the bottom line. If you don't behave on the training, I'm going to have to kick you out and you're not going to get a credit for that day. So on the long run, I said, I'm not the one losing, you are the one, because you're not going to get a raise. That's the bottom line, So that's all I got. Yeah.
And that's true. It puts it
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah.
Again, that you've been a few people that talked about this now. You told them.
Yeah.
It was stated the very first day.
And the thing, I mean, we go with the board too. We sit with the board, and we set all these rules, basic that we're gonna approve. I mean, they're gonna approve that for us to make sure we're doing the right thing, So on the long run, we don't want to get sued or something like that, So
And we
so
have
long as we got this,
too.
yeah. So
We all
and
have
so
people
far it's working. It's working for us, Yeah.
How about you, Jason King? What you got?
Okay, I went out the box a little bit and I Googled how to deal with an over talker or somebody who answers first all the time. And a couple of points they brought up was, you can talk to them before class, him or her, and tell them that our goal is to get people who don't speak in groups to break out of their shells and maybe get them involved with that goal for that particular classroom, because there are going to be people that are introverts and they're not going to want to speak or read out loud. Another way is before you even ask a question, you call out another person's name. Like, instead of the guy that always answers, say, Robert, answer this for me. So you can kind of control the room before he has a chance to answer. And it also gave me a suggestion to give him him or her a little false praise. Look, the subject we're going to talk about tonight, I know you already know about. So let's try to be the third or second person to comment on it when we start in the group chat or we start learning about the different experiences we have on the job site. So that gave me a lot of insight on how to deal with maybe a person trying to control the class or the class clown or whatever.
That's good though. How about you, Tom? What'd you find?
Found that you need to stay calm, first of all, and control the situation. And then also try to, see what the disruption, what their problem is, try to get a handle on the situation from their end, from their perspective. Everybody sees things a different point of view.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, like everybody said, you know, we need them as much as they need us. And that's what we're here for, to try to find that happy medium to get them through this. But yeah, I mean, most disruptive behavior is caused from stress or frustration that they've got from other issues going on in the world or family life, or maybe they just don't, that's their way to react on not understanding something, you
Right.
know, and you just gotta, you know, find that relationship, build that relationship with these students that we are bringing up.
And the reality is, it's hard for you to think about that when they're being disruptive, but most of the time, a good majority of the time, it has absolutely nothing to do with us. Every once in a while, it may be because they just don't like us. And I've told my students, I'm like, I don't like, one looked me in the face, especially high school, like, I don't like you. And I said, I don't care. Like, you really don't care. I said, no, it's not my job for you to like me. It's my job to teach you something. If you don't like me, I mean, I hate that, but it is what it is. But most of the time, other than that, it's got nothing to do with us. What they're being a jerk about has nothing to do with us personally. And even when it does, you can't take it personal. You can't. And that's hard, because when they're such jerks, it's hard not to take it home, and you're so mad and you're so frustrated. It's hard not to. But as you get experience, it'll be easier to just let it flow on past me. I'm like, but when that kid looked me in the face, and I honestly said exactly what I thought, like, Miss Cooper, I don't like you. I'm like, honey, I don't care. You don't have to like me, but you still have to do your work. It's fine. So it didn't bother me at all. Didn't hurt my feelings. And that's funny. And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, I don't like you that much either, but I can't say it. But, you know, I never told a student I don't like them. But there has been some that make it harder to like them over the years. I'm sure some of you will see them if you haven't seen them already. It's hard to like some of our family members, but they're still our family. How about Ryan? Yes, Brandon's going, mm-hmm.
All right. I looked up how to handle disruptive students in the classroom. I went to allocation.com, and they had a list of 10 things. We've covered most of them here. First one is have a sense of humor. And then obviously you don't want to take that too far and make it like it's a joke, but just have a little bit of humor, you know, make you seem personable. Never raise your voice. Use the silent stare. Maybe if someone's acting up a little bit, you can maybe just give them that physical cue that you're not happy. Learn your students' names. Fortunately, you typically learn the troublemakers' names first, but you could use that. So this is more towards children, I guess, because it says send the first disruptor to the hall, and then if there's another one, to the office. So I guess that's a strategy you could
Go
use.
see Thaddeus right now.
Yeah, you're
Send
going
him
to
to
Thaddeus's office right now. So
Send him to her bingo. That's the principal's office.
yeah, so our
Exactly.
DOT's office is right there next to our classroom. So
And be stirred when he needs to.
That's
Yeah.
good.
yeah. So another thing they have was let administrators know about your class if you do have maybe something that might be an issue. And then have them pop into the class occasionally, maybe just sit in for a second, and that might help, you know, tone them down a little bit if they know there's somebody else in there. It's not just you. And they had treat your students with respect, and tell the disruptive student that you do not need their help teaching the class much, maybe. So there's, that was their 10 points that they had on that site, which would cover most of them.
And those are good. And like you said, you may not be sending them to the principal office, but you can send them out, like, you're out. But and they still pertain even when they are in a regular classroom. A lot of them are still the same. How about you, Brandon? What you got? And then we'll have Joe.
I Googled how to deal with adult disruptive students. And I just did a couple do's and don'ts. A couple do's are stay calm, remove student from class if disruptive, address the disruptions and remove them from class. And then a don't is don't allow it to continue. Don't make it a class issue and avoid arguing.
Easier said than done, but yes, all those. How about you, Joe? What'd you find?
I can't remember the link name because I got a couple emails after, but the first one said empathy. And all I could think of was saying, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Kind of
Yeah.
not like a joke, but just kind of taking the power out of it. It just said keep cool and maybe discuss in private. But I know when we had bigger jobs, we'd have safety briefings in the morning. We'd have people to be disruptive and just kind of someone needs attention. You know what I mean? If they're trying to get attention, they're trying to get it in like a funny way or something. But when you bring that like negative to them, they get embarrassed sometimes. So, and at the end of the day, too, if you're dealing with apprentices, like we have to sign your raise sheet. So
Exactly.
you could be here, you don't, I came from the Army right to the Union to job sites and stuff. So like I can give it, I can take it. It's not going to affect me,
Yeah. I think a lot of people have come from the military first, or have been in the military. I mean, a lot of your workers have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a totally different world too. That's a different world too, the way they deal with things. And it depends on who's over you. But all of those, you notice the main thing is stay calm. Stay calm. Try, don't take it personally. But again, easier said than done, but that's the reality. Did any of you learn anything from going out and finding information?
Yeah.
Some of y'all like,
Yeah, some good tips.
Yes.
And anytime when you have questions, I mean, there's some false information on the internet, but you could tell y'all all found good places because they are all pretty much the same. They're all pretty much the same ideas, not the exact same wording, but they have the same thoughts about them. Like stay calm. You've got to address it. Try to take it out of the classroom if you can. So all of those are part of it. So y'all good? You think
Good
you got
question.
enough of understanding bratty adult students? I will never. And there's going to be some that it doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to make any sense. They come from left field. You're going to have those, but you just do the best you can. And sometimes, like I said, it's better off if you do kick them out. One of my guys said it took him 3 times being kicked out of an apprenticeship before it stuck. And now he's an instructor, but he goes, "Oh, you couldn't have made me learn. I didn't deserve to be there." He said, "I was just a jerk." And he got kicked out 3 times. And then he finally realized he was ready to learn. So again, no matter how hard we work or what we do, some people are just not ready for class. They're not ready to be on a serious job. There's nothing you can do except for kick them out and hope that makes them do better the next time around. Sad.
So
but
Michelle,
true.
quickly to add to something that Joe had mentioned, we do a weekly safety talk, and I don't read them anymore. I usually give it to the apprentices. But I guess if you had somebody that doesn't want to shut up while you're doing your safety talk, it takes all of a minute. Maybe hand the safety talk to that person one week and see how they feel when somebody's yapping in the background and not paying attention. So
I think so.
Lot of
I
power.
mean, sometimes you put them in control and let them see. I've let one, like I let y'all teach sometimes. I've done that in the classroom, and they're like, "I don't ever want to be a teacher." I was like, "But why? It's so fulfilling." But yeah, put them in control, and then there'll be some of the guys doing the same thing they do. Some of them do it just make a point because they do that every week.
yeah.
But I put them in control sometimes. Let them be responsible for reading, or let them be in charge sometimes. So, and it does teach them. It's not that fun.
One last thing.
Like them.
Every time I look down at Tom, He's got the orange shirt and the brush cut. Does he
Yeah,
look like he's in jail?
visitation at prison.
Does he look? He looks like he's in jail.
Yeah. Tom, how you doing in there?
Orange is the new black.
He's on
Not so good.
work
I'm stuck with Phil.
He's on work release. Give him a break.
Yeah.
Do the best you can.
Harley, you at the bar?
I'm at the bar.
Yeah, Harlan's at the bar the whole time.
I'll trade you.
Who's and somebody's in there with Dad. Who's in there with you? I see an eyeball. Oh, it's you.
That's my principal. That's my
That's
principal.
your principal.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we've had a lot of talks about you, Principal.
What?
Yep. We talked about you.
We did.
Oh, boy.
I brought you
No,
up.
I really appreciate all this because I know we're all here because we're professionals in our field and we've been asked to teach or we've made this conscious decision to help out our brotherhood and be involved. And really, I've had the jitters about it, even though I do this every day in the field. So I really appreciate all y'all and all your insight. And this has been really good. I like the Zoom.
And it is, I agree, it is great when it's in the classroom. That is great. But right now, some of you are having to teach this way too. So it is a good example because you're having to teach the way we're learning right now. You never know. So if we can't be in the classroom at all, at least we can still learn something. Because and then we can see each other's faces. We can have input. We can see when your troubled bosses come in. Brandon just had somebody come in there too.
And you never know. This might be the new
He's
norm.
just going from room to room. He just likes to be seen. Look at
Oh,
him.
he's everywhere. Yeah.
He's like, look at me. I'm in room number 2. In a minute, he'll be at your house.
Ryan, he'll be right up in a couple
Ryan,
minutes.
he's going to be at your house in a few minutes.
My
Watch out,
dogs will
Ryan.
let me know when he gets here. They will let me know.
This is a lot easier. Usually I have to call Nicole or I talk to Michelle and say, how they doing? Now I can check on it myself.
Hey, I'm fat and sassy. Fat and sassy. I'm bitter. Since I don't mind. Well, since I got on this insulin pump, 30 pounds in 30 days.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Gained 30 pounds in 30 days. That is not
Oh.
awesome.
Any tips for wimps?
And you know how women are when they gain weight. So, and it's not even, I should at least be able to eat chocolate and pizza if I gain weight. Not just have a little insulin. That's wrong. Now, no more of my bitterness. It's been recorded. Now, here we go to day 3. Like, yeah, I'm chunky. And I have to look at myself on a camera to top it off. Our objectives, because now we're on day 3, which we really are on day 3. Once we get done with this day 3, you should have the idea of how the different parts of a training plan, training goals, training objectives, curriculum development, lesson planning, identify his or own learning style. You should already have a little idea of that. But now you want to know about your training style. Ways to increase your training style flexibility. And you should already have a good idea that we've been talking about it, even though you may not have realized it. Distinguish between learner-centered and information-centered training. Identify different training methods. Online learning, here we go. Flipped learning, simulations, lecturing, modeling, role play, on the job. And prepare and present a task-oriented lesson with lesson plan. You don't have to worry about that right now. That's going to be next class. That'll be when we get to have the end of teaching technique 1, but we don't really know when that's going to be yet, but we'll figure it out. One thing at a time. It all works out one thing at a time. So now we're going on in an introduction training style. Here we go. And it says, recall your best and worst learning experiences. I'm not going to make you say it out loud because usually I do, but we're a little limited with time. If you think about a really good instructor and you think about a really bad instructor you've had, And if you think about the qualities that made this instructor bad and think about the qualities that made the instructor good, then that should give you an idea what you want to do to be better or what could happen to hinder your teaching. Because you learned from them, you learned from the bad instructor what not to do. And you learn from the good instructor what worked for them. Now, of course, not everything works for every person. You're learning as you go. But I definitely want you to think about that, because in teaching techniques too, we talk a lot about mentoring, peer mentoring, how much that helps for you to learn from a different person. So you are doing peer mentoring as an instructor. You are leading by example. You're showing them how you should act, how you should react to things. And that's why it says don't react to their anger, because you're just playing into it. And anger does not equal a good, it's not a good resolution, but you are their example. A little scary, you may think, but you are leading by example. So a training style, that's just the way you train. It can be a combination of how you've watched other people train, and most of it's experiences. If you've been a coach, a Sunday school teacher, who knows? If you've helped out, that gives you ways to learn how to be a trainer. That's all teaching. The way you teach your children. You've got to have patience when your children when you're teaching them something. I know that's true. So how you give directions, how you present information, and how you explain how to do something is all part of your training style, how you are as a trainer. I'm not going to make you do this, but you can. That's in your book. But there's a lot of questions you have to answer, and you write out, and it looks like, I'll show you next. Come on, this. And it's if you're a seller, a coach, an entertainer, or a professor. When you fill out that inside your green book, you get to, it'll tell you which one you are. And I'm not going to make you do that right now, but you're welcome to do it later just to find out. What we're going to do is talk about what those mean. And when you get into these, a seller, I think, and they say these are some of them as negatives. I think you're all a seller. You're selling the way, an attitude. You're selling the union. You are selling. You're selling a part of, for me, it's selling a behavior. But it says they see themselves as persuaders, because you are selling something, an idea. And strive to be driving, aggressive, enthusiastic. Not all of these have to be in a negative way, because you're probably a mixture of all these.
Hey,
huh? Well, oh.
Sorry, I was saying bye to Brian. Sorry.
Oh, Brian, and then he goes to another room. What's up with him? So, and learners are evaluated by objective testing. But again, that would be the seller. And I want you to think about these more objectively, because they're generals and they're not just one way or the other. When a professor, they see themselves as experts. As sellers main concern is process delivery, but this one, it says they strive to be impressive, polished, professional, and aloof. So you might want to be professional, but you don't want to be aloof or act like you're better than your students. You do know more than your students, but you don't need to constantly tell them how great you are and all these all these certificates you've got, all these things you've mastered. You're not there to prove yourself. You're there to help them. You can tell them about the classes you've taken, but they don't constantly, and I'm sure you've seen people like this too, that constantly have to tell you how great they are. I did this and I did that. I'm in charge of this. And there are a lot of them, and you're already in front of them. So you're above them in that way. So you don't need to keep proving yourself. You're there to teach them. So you don't want to be judgmental or look down on them because you know more than them. It's just you've got more experience. An entertainer, I hate to say this, but I think all of you have to be a little bit of an entertainer because you have to keep them awake. You have to try to make them listen to you. So this is the main concern is reactions and feelings, but you're going to be a mixture of all these and not the negative aspects. They're structured to be formal but flexible, leading sessions that are motivated, lively, and fun. But I think as a teacher, you are an entertainer and a motivator. So learners are evaluated by assessment of their feelings or opinions. That's not necessarily true, but that's what they say an entertainer does. A coach, some of you have already been a coach. They're learner oriented, which we should all be learner oriented. It's our job to teach them and see themselves as a facilitator, as a guide. That's what you are. You're a facilitator. You're there to help them be the best they can be. Coaches may concern results or performance. Programs are structured to be informal and flexible. And again, these are all just generalizations. So when you go in and you do if you want to do this graph in the book, it'll tell you your part this, your part that, but it'll just say what your stronger motives are, what you find if you are more of a coach or if you're more of the professor, you like to tell them what to do. So you're welcome to do that. I am not going to make you do that during class because we're running out of time. So designing a training plan, this is if you were going to do your presentation. Of course, you would not have to worry about cost. Yours doesn't come with cost. But and you learn a lot about this that's showing right now in Teaching Tech 2. You learn about needs assessment. You learn about writing objectives for your class and a program or overview. This is important information to have about your training. Like if something happens and someone else, Juan, you are just smiling so much. You must be looking at your phone. I don't know what you're doing, Juan. Look at him. He's just smiling. He must be reading something besides our stuff because he's smiling too much. So now he's just giggling in his little seat. Like, he bad. So all this would help if something happened and someone had to take over for you to have a training plan, because you never know when someone might have to take over your class or you have to take over someone else. This is good to have to know. Now, cost is when you're designing it at the beginning to know how much it's going to cost to have a training, because time is money. What are they going to get out of this? What's it going to cost the facility to hold this training? And the basics, determine whether training is needed. That's what a needs assessment is. What is lacking? What do we need to work with? Is this going with your book? Is this in your book? Cool. Determine content and scope of the training. All of this is to see, do we need to have a full training or can we fix this? Because this is problem solving. A needs assessment, what's the need? And how can we fix it? Is it going to be a one-day training or is it going to be a week training? And when we get into designing a training plan, again, they go out and you figure out what needs to be included in my training. What's the problem of the need? Are they going to have to go into some major training? Are they going to do hands-on? All of this, you go out in the needs assessment still, you find out this information by doing surveys, questionnaires, find out from actual people that are doing the job what the problem is. Why do they think that this is not being served? So you can go out and find. Does all this make sense so far? A needs assessment, and all of our jobs depend on needs assessment. We're all employed because there's a need. Apprentices need to be taught. That's the needs assessment. So we come in and we teach them. That would be the need. That's an simple way for a needs assessment. And writing instructor objectives, they are a key to your training. That's the first thing that it says objective state what the learner will know, understand, or be able to do at the end of the training module. So that has to do with attitude, skills, knowledge. So you tell them the first thing, that's what we were doing. We've been talking about it. At the end of this training, you should know how to do this. At the end of this training, you should have a better understanding of this. Now, when it comes to something like sexual harassment, that is more of an attitude. It's hard to range because they're going to take that test and they're going to say what you want to hear. You won't really know if that training is productive till they get back out on the job site and whether they do what they're supposed to do. Because on most of these tests, you know, they're going to answer it the way they're supposed to. They're not going to fail. They're not going to say what they may be thinking. They're going to give you the answer you want. Writing and structural objectives. And you go over this more in teaching techniques too. You have to actually write them, and they're not difficult. It's just, you know, components, audience, who's going to be in the training. Is there a behavior they need to change? Is there a standard? Is there a condition? So when it says SMART, specific, measurable, action-oriented, reasonable, time-bound. So all of these, what are we going to teach them? How are we going to teach them? And what amount of time do they need to know this? And what is a reasonable? Are they going to know how to do this 100% accuracy, or is it going to be 80% accuracy? So all of this is part of your objective. And that's at the first of each day. We've had objectives at the first of our class days when I went through the PowerPoint. And all of those that you find inside the LMS have the very first thing, objectives. It says, following this session, participants will be able to describe 4 factors that increase the risk of HIV transmission in women. I know that's odd. I don't know why they used a medical example, but you see, follow this section, following, time bound. Participants will describe action-oriented 4 factors, that's measurable, and the reasonable, and it tells you what they're supposed to know. Does that make sense to everybody? So it is so important to have objectives so they will know what to expect from you and what to expect from them. And anything I skip over is because there's a lot of group activities we can't really do. But please, you're welcome to read through these and just look at them. And whenever we finally get back to the classroom in person, we might get to cover some of these. So
Starting to get cognitive overload. I read that in chapter 10.
Cognitive overload. Is that what you're getting, sweet fella?
I'm starting to get that now. Just throwing it out there.
Hey, that was already to 1 to 4. You already checked out on me anyway. You already checked out on me from 1 to 4. You already told me. Too bad. So objectives, now you should know them. Assessments, and that's just how you're going to test them. Are they going to do hands-on? Are they going to model something? Someone told me they were a hand model one time, this group of my angels. And how are you going to assess them? You assess your students all the time. So you are watching them, you're paying attention. Make sure you have the materials they'll need, professional and ready to teach them. If you're going to teach them how to paint something, you need to have those materials ready. Don't wait till after class starts. I know that kills time, but it looks like you're not organized and ready. Estimated time, how long for each segment? Because you know there's a certain amount of time that you have to perform in, especially with OSHA. There's so many hours you have to cover and so much material. So you need to make sure you're ready for that. Cognitive overload that. So then we've got instructional technique, and that just determines how you're going to teach. Are you going to be able to go out and do hands-on? Are you going to have to lecture for 3 hours straight and expect your students just to listen? Yes. Are you going to use PowerPoint? Is it small groups, role play, videos? And it's good to have videos and stuff to break up, especially if you're in there for 8 to 10 hours. Man, do something. Let them get up and stretch. They've got to at least, if we were at FTI, you get a break every hour for 10 minutes. So every hour we're there, you get to go take a smoke, Donald, you get to smoke 10 minutes every hour. And because just sitting there is hard all day long, and just listening and videos, this is hard to sit there and listen and listen and listen. So evaluation, instructors evaluate the lesson. And you get to evaluate too. I've got to set up time for that because you got to go in and do the survey. That's what gives you credit for the class. And Nicole said we could go ahead and do that. So when you're doing all of these lesson plannings, and go in and read again, teaching techniques 2 is a lot more about the first teaching techniques 1. We talk a lot about the students, and teaching techniques 2, it's more how we do things. It's more about us as the instructors. We are learning now how to deal with the students, what makes them learn the way they are. And when we get into teaching techniques 2, it's more how do we teach this? What's a good way to give a presentation? How to overcome nervousness? How do you do different parts of it? So on lesson planning, all of this is just, and you should always have something somewhat written down where if, again, someone comes in and you can't teach, they can see this if it's possible. This was his lesson planning, learning objectives, learner-centered, action-oriented. All of these are the same things that I just said. Energizer, have some, if you want to have some games or something in there, something to get them up, even if it's like when we're at the FTI, you get to go for a tour. So halfway through one of the classes, you get to get up and get a tour of all the facilities, and that gets you up and gets you moving because you're there for a week from 8 to 5 with me, and that's a lot of time to sit in the classroom. So energizers, icebreakers, just make sure all of this is part of your lesson. And it doesn't hurt to have a backup plan. Sometimes PowerPoint, sometimes the computer goes down. So that's why you have those paper books and we have them at the facility. Things go wrong all the time. You put the tools up, you go to get a tool that you were going to use and someone moved it and didn't put it back where it belonged. Not that ever happens, but if it did, have a backup plan. Jason Bauer, you up there yawning, making me sleepy. Bad man, bad.
Hey, we had a union meeting last night, so I was out a little later than I wanted to be.
Oh man, that's all you have to say. And if you have arguers, it's even longer than you plan. So training methods, and this just, is it going to be learner-centered? Trainer as a facilitator, learn by doing, that's hands-on. Address different learning styles. Increase understanding and retention. Takes longer. All of these active training methods, they're learner-centered, takes longer. All of these are different things if there's interaction. Just like when you're teaching, the facilitator and the participant are both equally. All this I told you from the start. I think of this more like a group activity. You're supposed to talk. You're supposed to have opinions. I think by talking, you learn from each other, and that only helps the class. You need to be able to communicate with each other. See if you have the same problem. See if someone can help you. When Thad asked, we could all contribute what we thought. That's what's great about these classes, because it is a group activity. It's not me just telling you what to do, because one, not everything's going to work the same for you. This is just different ideas like active training. All of these are ideas that you've read in the book and you'll read more. Passive training. Active is always better, but it takes more time. They actually have to do something. You're in an active training right now. You have to talk. You have to go out and find information. And I think it's easier to absorb if you're actually part of the training. Just to sit and absorb passive and you just have to listen and listen and listen, that's hard. That's why I have you go out and look for information. And this is just different things. Lecture, group discussions, simulations, role play. You can do a lot of role play. And that's one thing you can do that sometimes too. You can say, hey, we're going to use example. You're the foreman today. So one of those obnoxious talkers are in charge. And then they have the students that don't listen very well. And they've got to get them they're using examples and they're talking to them and they're trying to get them in order. You can't get students in order sometimes. So make them be responsible.
I did that already. I made them a foreman of Big T's Glass and Glazing. And I made them, I gave them tasks and I had them do all kind. Oh yeah, I got them. I got them.
It's awesome because when you put them in charge and they have to deal with these students that you're dealing with,
right,
it makes them see it in a totally different way.
And then I broke it down with like pay rates, and I put a bum number on it, like I don't know, and they were like way over on labor. Oh, I hammered them.
Oh, there's Tom. Did you want to say hi, Tom? Oh, you're on mute.
At a natural break, just keep teaching. I'll chime in.
I thought you might want to talk to him. So case studies, we have unfortunately plenty of case studies we can do. I think those are good too. You can go into something that didn't work out, and a good example, it's not a good example, a sad example, but there's a lot of safety issues and what they could have done differently to prevent accidents or deaths. There's a lot of case studies you can use on that because there's tons of those. You can go online and find videos about case studies on things on the union, and that does help. Then it makes it real. And you can, after you show them and give them the case study, you can talk about, hey, what could have we done differently? What could have helped this? Modeling, you model all the time. You're showing them behavior. You're showing them how to do the job. So you are continuously modeling, and this examples that they're supposed to live up to. On the job training, most of yours get that too. Some of you are on the job with them and in the classroom with them. Mentoring, and I told all of you, you're mentors too all the time. You're their example. And games, you can throw that in. If you like games, if you're not comfortable with them, you don't have to. Distance learning, you're distance learning right now. We are learning online. This is not in the classroom right now. And blended learning. Hopefully that's what we're going to do soon. We're part of it's online, and when we can eventually get back in a classroom, we can finish. That's what blended is. Even giving them some LMS homework like you're going to do tonight. And then that's blended. Then you usually come back in and we're going to talk about it on the lounge. But that's part of the blended learning. They do part of it on their own and then come back in the classroom. And the flipped classroom, we've already talked about that too. You can make somebody else in charge. Video conferencing, that's what we're on. Webinars, same thing. So did you want to talk to them and take a break, Tom? They're probably ready for a break if you want to talk to them.
Sure, as long as it's a good time, sure.
Oh yeah, you can say hello to them. There's Nicole.
So again, I just wanted to, I don't think I did. I did post in the instructor lounge, so I'm glad that I saw some of you were in there, and I'm going to continue to encourage you all to use that and spread it to your fellow colleagues, back at the training centers and your DOTs. It's something that the DOTs have asked for. We had it, and then they asked for it. We put it up, and you can see it's really a conversation between Alice and I a lot of times. Maybe Nicole throws in some stuff every once in a while. So it's really for you, meant for you to share, and particularly share resources like you're learning today. For those of you who do not know me, if you haven't met me, I'm Tom Funstein. I'm the Director of Curriculum here at the International Finishing Trades. Been here for quite some time now, and I'm glad that you were able to get enrolled in this course with the hard work of Michelle and Nicole to deliver a pretty close experience that you would get, sort of not as great of experience if you'd have if you were here in Hanover, but nonetheless getting your feet wet a little bit, learning some of the basics of adult learning, basics of the communicating, of curriculum development, delivering presentations, and then as I chimed in here with you today, seeing how to deliver not just in front of an in-person class, but obviously this is a whole another realm too of your these instructor-led virtual instructional trainings. Yesterday, I did a presentation with Dr. Johnson. So Nicole, you keep checking your email on that. For the International Foundation, I think we had 170, 180 folks on that dealt with best practices in virtual instruction, engaging the learners, et cetera. So it's something we're going to continue to assist and help you with and provide those tools as well, in addition to those basic needs with the expertise of someone like Michelle, who's been doing this with us for I don't know, for quite some time now as well, through Marshall and then through MCTC, and now by Michelle. She's by herself at this point. As far as just a couple other things, again, while we wanted to have you here, I think this was, I don't know if this was going to be our first face-to-face. Maybe it was supposed to be our first face-to-face. When we do reopen, I think you can work with your DOT and work with Nicole to, if you want, we might bring you back here. Right? I don't know how much has been talked about that, to maybe bring you back here to Hanover, so you can maybe get some brush up on some of those skills, but do that teach back piece, that in-person teach back, which is a very important part of the what we do, not just in teaching techniques, but as you proceed, as you're, you take your OSHA, right, Nicole, OSHA 500 and all those have teach backs. SSPC, if you get in that world, that NACE, it's really good where you have, just like you would do if you were a teacher, like I went through, or probably Michelle went through as teacher, you have someone that's helping you and watching you, observing you, telling you what to do, what you did well, what you could improve upon, and you really learn the craft of skill. Because we know you guys all have great knowledge, right? That's why you were asked to be an instructor, whether it be a full-time or part-time, and that field experience. But that teaching, it's a balance, right? There's that science and art, right? There's a science and art between the two. So, which I'm sure you guys have probably touched on. I don't know what else has sort of been covered. I think I briefly talked to Alice. So I think you might have met Alice as well. So the LMS, you can continue to use that. We don't know if it's working or not, to continue to use it. Again, if there's things that aren't working properly with it, I think they've probably talked to you. There's just an email there, and you can send that to us, and it goes into an escalation, and we get back to you on that and hopefully get it fixed. We recently transitioned to an updated version based on like a couple years worth of wish lists from directors of training, instructors. Maybe some of you provided some of that insight to us as well, so we appreciate that. And we're slowly but surely working on those kinks, right? Those quirks. So some of the things that didn't work so well are really working well. And then there's right now there's just this little login thing that's taking. We're trying to figure that piece out. The speed when you initially log in, and we're trying to clean that up a little bit. But everything else seems to be working pretty good, which is a good thing. And people are using it, so that's even a better thing. Anything else, Nicole? Did there anything else that they didn't touch? The degree program, I don't know if Monisha touched on that.
Monisha talked yesterday.
Okay, so it's on temporary on hold a little bit, right? So with the associate in particular, but we're working hard to get alternative solutions. But there are still some alternative solutions while you're there as a member of the IPAT. So the building trades actually has a bachelor's degree in construction management through Rowan University, which is 100% online, and I think they offer like half of it is a scholarship, $7,200, I think, scholarship. So they're always looking for folks that maybe are interested in that. And then the MCTC one, we're working on that. We'll see where that goes. But if not, we're working with one with Empire State with our bachelor's degree, and this other one on health and safety with Columbia State, which is an online health and safety professional degree. We have some folks enrolled in that. So, anybody have any questions or comments while they have my attention that I can offer to the best of my ability from here in Hanover? But I'm sure between Nicole and Alice and Monish, you probably got most of your questions answered.
They're quiet.
Yeah,
No, we appreciate you talking to us though.
Yeah, you're welcome. So and again, we go to the website. We're again, if you have any questions or you want additional resources, there's so many things. We've even prior to the pandemic, prior to the whole closures and stuff like that, we've done a really good job as far as providing resources, in particular for the new instructors. And the nice thing about this class is you can come back and you can take it again. I think I reviewed the courses a couple of weeks ago, but I think there's a couple little modules in there as well that you can take as supplementals on adult learning. I think they threw like an adult learning or something in there as well, like e-learnings in your class, right? Did
Yeah,
you
I've
guys
seen
see
that.
They're awesome. They're going to do homework tonight.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
And we're going to comment back and forth tonight because they're awesome.
Yeah,
they didn't even care.
and again, and it's hard to, again, some of the stuff that when you're here in Hanover, meeting the folks like you sort of met before, those would be formal, obviously presentations where Nicole, she's in there all the time, but Monisha would have came in, I would have come in, Alice and Donna would have come in. And you get to that meet your fellow instructors from across the country, in addition to see our wonderful place, facility here. If you haven't been here before, we're looking forward to hopefully it reopening pretty soon, right? Sooner, we're kind of waiting on the state of Maryland. I don't know where I sort of see where you guys are all from. Alice gave me a list of the course list or class list, but we're probably a little more cautious here, right? In the East Coast, at least in Maryland here, and our governor's pretty cautious. So it's still, I think, a 10 or 14-day quarantine or come in with a negative
Oh yeah,
COVID
we got
test.
2 Canadians too.
Yeah, like I talked with Simon, your ATR. I've been talking with him about he doesn't think he'll travel anytime soon, like in 2021 even. He didn't think coming to the States. Like I don't, from that perspective. So, err on the side of caution. I think the good thing is we can still deliver this, and as we're talking about some of these things, and you're becoming new instructors, and you're learning not just to teach, but you're also learning to teach maybe in this virtual world. Again, I mentioned I spoke yesterday at the International Foundation. The person who co-presented with me is this Dr. Johnson, who does a lot of stuff with the trades, and we're going to hire him do a couple of these sessions too, and how to deliver, like how do you assess hands-on training at a distance. He does a really good job about that, engaging the students. He does a lot of stuff with the I forget which of the labor union, the ones that did that, like the stage hands. I forget which group that is, but that he does a lot of stuff. IFSCA or something like that. Whatever. IATSE. I take that back. IATSE. So he does a lot of them, and he's like kind of does what Michelle does for IATSE. So we're looking forward to just having him do a couple workshops for us as well. But I think you'll find some of that stuff to be beneficial as you continue to look for ways to improve as instructors. Did they talk about the instructor program, training program?
Yes,
Yep.
they did.
Associate.
Monisha did.
Okay, the associate and the master instructor. We encourage you. You're kind of already logged in now that you're enrolled here. If this is your first class, if it isn't, you're already enrolled, but you're enrolled in our associate instructor program, and hopefully we can get you guys out to finish up with the masters, get those 9 classes, and then if you so want to, you can take that last course, that capstone course, which we would really look forward to doing, kind of like a research, kind of a culminating project that you would do towards the end that leads to being ordained a master instructor by the IFTI. So that's kind of what I have here. So you guys have tomorrow. You got teach backs tomorrow. Mini teach backs.
No.
Oh no.
No.
We're put it off
Content.
till whenever we get to come back.
Mhm.
This is our last day together
Oh, okay.
until sometime.
Teaching techniques too, and Nicole will work on those dates. Hopefully, I think you guys I don't know how we've been doing it virtually, but I think we try to keep it here, try to keep them together the best we can, so they come back and you're comfortable with the group that you're with, and then hopefully that'll be sooner than later. Anybody else have any other questions, comments?
These 9 courses, we take them on our own?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. With the guidance of your your director of training or your coordinator, but they're kind of geared right to the teaching techniques 1 and 2, the health. Then there's a health and safety we throw in there, the first aid, CPR, and then you can take any other class. Most people would take that. Could be another health and safety class. It could be trade specific. It could be one of our methods courses. That's kind of like that associate piece, right? To kind of give you this well-rounded touch, and then the additional courses you would take moving on from that would primarily be, that's where you become that OSHA. You take the OSHA 510 or the OSHA 502 or whatever, OSHA 500, I'm sorry, the OSHA 510, and then probably more stuff in your craft. Could be, some health and safety related, but you might want to take the class on decorative paint. You might take something on liquid Graco or something that within your training from that perspective. So, yeah, you can sign up. Look, I'm sure they've gone over the LMS and the homepage, and you can see what we're offering. I think when Nicole had it updated yesterday, but I know like on the other visible piece there was put a bunch like 5 or 6 more on for next month. Health and safety focus, but anything you take from here would count towards that component of here. It also helps us. I'm sure they mentioned our accreditation. So we have that Department of Education, one of the 8 agencies in the United States that credit post-secondary institutions. We have that, here, and we have restrictions that we need to, or compliance that we must meet each year. And a lot of that has to do with completing people through our program and numbers. So we've done a couple things besides offering these distance learning activities, depending on where you're located. We have 3 now instructional service centers where we can actually offer our courses off campus here and get credit through the Department of Education. 1 in Chicago, 1 in the western part of Chicago, District Council 30, 1 in the Upper Midwest, FTI Upper Midwest in Minneapolis, Little Canada. And 1 in Philadelphia. So those 3 places, which is good. So we're going to continue to look into expand that to have more of these regional training centers. That could potentially happen if something like this continues, or something like this happens again. That way, we're not just meeting in Zoom like you guys, like we are in our meetings, and you guys are probably doing the same thing. So
yeah.
Any other questions? Comments? Well, I appreciate you guys. Nice meeting you guys virtually. And hopefully we'll see you here shortly. Just get on Nicole. Just bombard her inbox for the next teaching techniques.
Oh, that's nice.
She says she doesn't get enough emails from people.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'll send you some too. Then I'll send you some of mine.
In a center, but no, it won't be too long, right? I mean, I forget it's not like we're going to wait a whole year, right? There's going to be, probably a couple months with another teaching techniques too, where the adult learning theory piece will be stood up and put on the calendar. And I don't know if she kind of automatically she's looking at that and balancing to say, okay, these people need teaching techniques too. So you'll get some guidance from the office as well to get shepherd into the class, if it fits your schedule.
Great. So we're going to get emails saying, hey, you need to log into your next class, because we all need reminders, I'm sure, because,
Nicole will work with your director or coordinator on that. Yes.
Right.
So, yep. So she knows, in addition, going back to that, who's got to complete in the programs, we used to be kind of just a hodgepodge, but now we have more of a structure here of what people need, and what Nicole's monitoring that. As the two coordinator, she's monitoring what people need, not just when certs are expiring, but stuff like this as well. So,
thanks, Nicole.
Because she's got to fill the classes. That's why her mailbox is so.
Yeah. So we'll be in touch, obviously, with your training directors. Like I said, there's a 510 coming up in February. We just rolled that class out yesterday. So for this group, you guys will probably do your 510 next, and then we'll do a teaching tech in March, the second part of that, so that you'll be ready to roll into your OSHA 500, because OSHA 500 does require teach back, and that's pretty intense because it's OSHA and it's OSHA.
Right.
The standard. All you have to say, it's OSHA.
Nicole, that 510, that's the 22nd to the 26th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just a question for us in Canada, since we don't follow OSHA, we're not going to be taking those courses, I assume.
That's right. You wouldn't take those courses. So the WMIS is your alternative to that.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think we accept those. Once you guys do your WMIS, we can work offline, but I think once you guys go through that, we can use that card, and that's your alternative to the OSHAs.
Yep. That's the equivalent. That's the trend.
Yep.
Is the WMIS easier? Can we take the WMIS?
Just Jason, just don't eat the caulking.
Okay.
Good input there.
Well, I'll let you guys get back to your class. Michelle, it's nice seeing you.
Good meeting you, Tom.
Take care.
Thank you.
Now, Nicole, are we gonna do the survey?
Yeah, if you guys want to take a
I'm
few
gonna-
minutes. I would like,
Go through the last slide.
you wrap up and then we can try to log on when you're done, or if you guys want to try to do it on your own, and you can certainly reach out to us here at the FTI, up to you. However you want to do it. I'm a little bit loose on the survey. It needs to get done, but if it's not done today, I'm cool with that, you know.
Well, I'll just go over a couple more slides and torture them just a second. So all of them can start logging into the LMS and make sure they can get on.
Okay, that sounds good.
That way we can go ahead. Sorry. That's my insulin pump is.
I was gonna say, that sounds like a pump alarm.
It is. It's my insulin pump yelling at me. It's all good.
Is everything okay? Do we need to take a break?
Yeah. I don't know why it's yelling at me. It just wanted to. I plugged it up to get a charge, so maybe it's just saying thanks. I don't know. I'm not too high or too low, so I'm good. It just likes to make noise. So for the last few slides, and then I'm gonna but definitely go ahead and log on to the LMS. It's mostly telling you about presentation trainer skills. So definitely look over the last few one. I've got it already on where it says trainer skills. You've got to have professionalism, well planned, flexibility, a sense of humor, and classroom management. These are all things we've already talked about. So you should have a pretty good handle on this. And there are verbal and nonverbal. We've talked about that already. The volume, how your voice, your tone, and nonverbal, you got to make sure it matches your posture. Of course, I've been wiggling in my chair trying to get comfortable. I got a heating pad. It's wonderful because it's cold outside for us. Not like it's cold in Canada, but your gestures, eye contact, facial expressions, all of those. Of course, that's a little bit more difficult when we're doing online. So I'm excited that they are going to have someone that comes in and actually teaches you about online, because teaching online, because it is a different world. But that is pretty much all I'm going to torture you with, because I'd like for you to watch that tonight, you know, go through that little class I told you about. But now I want you to get on to the survey. Some of it is not going to pertain to you. Like I don't know if they changed it, because I know you didn't get any food. You didn't. How were the meals? How were the facilities?
Yeah, good point. It should be the regular online survey, and then if it's not, it starts asking you about food in the hotel room. We're just gonna close that down and keep it moving, like we never saw.
You better say your food was great, or your significant other may not be happy about that.
You know, we might not say anything. We really shouldn't talk about the food, because we don't know what kind of food or kitchen we're gonna have when we reopen.
Oh man.
I know. We might have to get food brought in.
Oh no. Well, we'll see what life is like. So make sure you do the survey so you'll get credit for the class. And then after that, you'll be pretty much finished, because it's 3:56. Do my homework for me tonight or this afternoon, please. It's short class.
Click the next button to review the instructions.
Yeah, I hear it.
Got it. All right. That's great. That's great.
Oh, so we'll do that survey right now?
Yes, please.
Okay,
That way you get credit for the class.
okay.
Yes, and welcome. Once you start mastering the survey, every class you take with us comes with a survey. So the sooner you sort of learn how to do all that business, the better off you'll be going forward. And we give you time when you're at the center. We'll take a break out of class and we'll let you do your survey.
And that way we know if something doesn't work the way it's supposed to, if something's wrong. Somebody was in there with Brandon, but I couldn't see who it was.
Were we supposed to get on here and register or anything? Because I know when we log into that class, it says the registration and everything, and it says like 0 progress. We're usually even taking an online class that shows some kind of progress by the end.
Not for these.
Okay.
You won't get any sort of progress. Just that once we do the survey, that'll show it complete. And then tomorrow, typically it's 24 hours. Now with the new LMS upgrades, I might be speaking a little bit crazy. It should be 24 hours and then you would be able to see your completion in your transcript tomorrow. I would say based on timing, maybe Monday, but it should be there. If you check it tomorrow, it's not there, don't panic.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
I just tried to get onto the survey and Dad came over to try and help me and it's not working.
Well, what'd you do?
Don't know. If I knew that, I'd probably be on there.
Did it pop up for you? Like, could you see it with a little survey box?
It won't even let me get onto the LMS right now.
Okay. Let's see. Did you put in your member ID to log in?
Yeah.
Okay. And and the password, you changed it or it's our password?
Nope. The regular FTI 123.
Okay. Let me just check real quick here.
This is why we do it here, so we can find out what's going wrong.
I wonder if you're just too new. Do we have you in the system?
There should be. You could get on when we were working on it with Alice, couldn't you?
Yeah, I've been all over LMS ever since basically like day one here.
Okay, well, that's good. So 38338015 is your member ID?
That sounds about right. I don't know it off the top of my head.
All right.
Yeah.
It's not letting me sign in either.
Well, Tom said they were having some kind of little glitch. I wonder if that's what he was talking about. Is most of you able to get on?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on.
Completed mine.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
on
on.
right now.
Yeah, I'm on. I'm rating my stay as excellent since it's at my own house too.
Oh, no.
Can you get on, Nicole?
Yeah, we're just a little bit slow. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, mine's really slow.
We call it the circle of death.
That's like my blue screen of death that used to come on our computers all the time.
And, even like with everybody, like, even though we work here, like, it's a huge adjustment for us too, right? Because we're used to doing what we normally do. So where do I go again to find this?
Oh, yeah. When she sent it to me, I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. Well, I think it was Bob that taught me how to search now.
And then you remember your old way and you know that there's a new way, but you can't remember it and you're in the weeds and you're trying to get it done. Like, silly.
Strategies that can be utilized to create more effective training. We will develop a training plan using the ADDIE model.
Well, somebody's already starting to do their training.
Brandon, I'm going to try to just give you a new password if you want.
Oh, I got too many passwords right now.
You want to
Yeah,
give
that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
You can change it.
Can't be choosers. You can't get on. Be nice.
Okay, when we're done the survey, just X out.
Yep. Just remember, you've got to get back on sometime today and finish that little training.
Right.
There's trouble. I can see the side of his head.
So you said if the server starts asking us about the hall is not the correct one.
Oh yeah, it's all on there.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a full survey. It's just to ask you about stuff that doesn't pertain.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the stuff about the hall. So that's sorry, that's our bad.
Yeah,
Brandon,
it's asking me like if I stay there and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the part of the regular survey. That's part of it.
Okay, so just keep answering.
Yeah, you'll get to our part.
Always excellent.
The only question I got is under the modules, FTI 1000 Introduction to Teaching Techniques for Adults registration, and mine says not attempted.
Yeah, it should be 2 more down. Scroll down.
No, I got the survey done. It's in progress. I completed that. But the FTI, the actual course, the registration for the course, it says
They gotta
it's not
complete it.
attempted.
It's gotta be put in the system first.
Oh yeah, you
You
don't
gotta do this and that.
Okay, so then we just go on to the other learning.
Yeah, the thing I want you to do tonight or this afternoon or whenever.
How adults learn. Go through that and then that's it, right? Okay.
That's it. I just want you to tell me what you think about it on the instructor's lounge.
All right, Brandon.
Yes.
Peach 1, 2, 3, lowercase.
Peach is in the fruit.
No, sorry, teach is in teach.
Peach. Okay.
Yeah, you said peach.
I like it. I could try that for the next one. All right, I'm gonna look up you, Jason King. Right? I'm gonna look you up and see if I can. Well,
I
let's.
just reset my password. I'm putting it in now.
All right, I'll wait then. Let's see if Brandon can get in. If he can, then I'll switch you, Jason, if we need to. In 1 sec, I'll do that.
What do we have to do? The how adults learn, right, Michelle?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I will answer all of those on the teacher's lounge after you put them in.
Well, what in the questions? If we have any questions.
Oh, you're going to tell me what you think about that, what you
Video.
watched tonight on the instructor's lounge.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so just put that in and I'll just reply and say, awesome. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate y'all being in class with me. I know it's a lot different.
Well, thank you for taking this on. I'm sure it's difficult on your end as well.
It's different, but it's good. Y'all are still likable.
Nicole, my account says it's I'm locked because of too many failed attempts.
Just got in, Nicole.
Story of my life. All right, I'm going to go to you next and reset your password. Your password will also be teach. 1, 2, 3.
Not peach.
But I like it. I should have picked something more embarrassing than teach.
And it takes a lot to embarrass these guys. They're not easy to embarrass, I found.
Well, that's good. That means they'll be, and the thing is, like the unique experience that y'all are gonna have that nobody else is gonna have this experience. Like you were the first group, and although it sounds a little hokey, it is sort of serious. You guys are the first group to start this journey in this way under these conditions. So how we end up, I think it'll be, up to y'all and your determination to kind of, make it happen. Because you don't know what you don't know. So this is all brand new to all of us. So we're all sort of learning together.
It's funny, but I taught the first class in the training facility. So now I'm teaching the first class online.
Yep.
When we moved from Maritime.
You. It's all you, Michelle.
It is on me. I'm waving at different people. There was a cute little fella with blonde hair that came up beside Nicole.
Yeah, I seen that.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
Yes, they're talking about you, babe. All
All
right, Jason King, you can try it. You have been reset to teach lowercase 1, 2, 3. If you want to try it. Did you want to say hi to the class?
Come on, cutie. Say hi. He's so cute. Look. You don't want to say hi right now? I see you. Oh, what you got? Oh, man.
Highlanders.
I said
Nice.
Skylanders swap force.
That's amazing.
My dog is talking to you.
You hear the dog?
And you need characters to play. You need to put toys on see the toys.
That is so cool. That looks like fun.
Totally cool.
If I ever get to come back to your way again, you can show me in person.
You remember Michelle?
Yeah.
You do?
When I was watching Despicable.
Hey,
Well, remember you met her when you were
it's
Oh,
almost
you were a
ended.
real person.
Let me go back 10
We were
minutes.
eating. We were eating. That's where we met in person. We're always eating when we're in Maryland.
Yes, we are.
In the morning.
So Nicole, you were talking about like this journey that you said we were on. Like this isn't going to be like our entire journey, right? Like Zoom.
No,
I hope not.
I hope not, because I'm not. Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna.
All right, I'm cool with it for a minute, but
So really kind of what we're thinking. So obviously this is all new to us, but sort of what I have in my mind for everybody who has to take these online classes, especially this group and the series of classes, however we're going to do it, regardless of when we can, when you come back to the training center, we'll have Michelle come in for 2 days. So you guys can wrap it up with Michelle, do your presentations online. If we do the OSHA teach backs, almost like a workshop. So you wouldn't sit in an entire class for the week. Now this is me talking, and in theory, it sounds really good, but like you wouldn't come back just for one particular sit there for 40 hours in one particular class, but little maybe workshops. So like we would spend the day with Michelle doing your teach backs for back. We could do the OSHA, and then maybe you could do an elective if we have an elective there going on, or even if it's you can't learn, you can, but you can't learn first aid CPR online.
I actually did it. I actually did it with Bohan on a Zoom, and it was it was all right. I did it, but it was tough.
Not easy. Yes. I remember we did it in the fall.
Right. So we're not going to have like a bunch of classes though, like left, like half done, right? Like we're not going to have teaching tech 1, 2, OSHA 500, 510, like half done, and then try to come in and like have like 5 or 6 classes like halfway done, and our minds are just spinning all around.
No, you'll finish all of your classes online. You'll get credit for all of them. But when we do it in person, it'll just kind of be like, here we are. Here's like little mini refreshers. Like, okay, here's what we did. That's where I'm going.
Okay.
With those types of things. And then if we can fill in the time with like smaller health and safety classes down in the training center, because remember, as big as our center is, we still can't have more than 10 people in a room at a time, with the instructor. So there's all of those that we have to figure out from the CDC and our state guidelines just to make sure that y'all are safe when you travel to Maryland. So
right.
It's a lot going into, obviously I would love to do classes downstairs because it's way more spread out. And we're sort of working towards being able to put a class on downstairs rather than in a confined classroom. Not that our classrooms are small, but still.
Yeah.
Nicole, give me that password again.
Teach, TEACH 1 2 3 lowercase.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, I've tried 3 times. Let's try one more time. TEACH.
Now, for those of you, have y'all finished the survey?
Yes.
Now, for those of you that have finished the survey, I know you haven't, Jason, it's okay. Then you can pop off if you want to, because it's already 4:11, and I've held you over because I'm bad. So make sure, if you will, to get on tonight or this afternoon and just survey that for me and tell me what you think about it and the teacher's lounge. But y'all can go
bit us.
pop off.
You whistle bit us. You whistle bit us. You whistle bit us. You worked us past our time.
Whistle bit.
I'm not listening to that. I still don't, I didn't hear you. What?
Yeah.
What? Say something? I think I got a bad connection. Hey, that's an advantage of this thing. What? What? Hey, there's advantages of this thing. I can't see you. I could put on mute, but for those of you that are finished, you can go. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Michelle.
Thank you very much, Michelle and Nicole.
Michelle.
Everything.
See you guys.
Bye.
Hi, guys.